Hello, pod lovers. Welcome to another See You Next Tuesday podcast from wherever you may be in the world. Let me once again introduce you to my withered and aged cohorts, Ed001 and Eds025, who as we speak, has just ordered his James Rodriguez blow-up doll, which will keep him occupied for many, many hours, or in Eds025's case, seconds. So the new season is upon us.
It's James, not James.
Sorry, James. Thanks for that, mate. So the new season is upon us, and there's lots to cogitate about. So without further ado, let's get going. That? What?
Are you allowed to say that? Cogitate, you know. It's a family show, this.
Do you know what cogitate means?
It's a joke, mate. It was a joke.
Oh, well, what can you banter, Tristan? It's the same as last year. I thought you'd come back new and improved.
I'm just wasted on you. I'm too far above you. That's the problem. I'm setting my sights too high.
Every football show on the planet gets a revamp, right? New presenters, etc. And I'm still stuck with your tired old jokes.
Hey, you ain't heard nothing yet.
I should sack my agent, I tell you.
You ain't heard nothing yet. Wait till we get going. I've got a few lined up for you. I'm not going to mention Billy's computer virus, though, today. Don't worry.
Thank you. All right, good day, lads. How's tricks, my lovelies?
I'm good, thanks. I'm really good.
Billy, you haven't been this excited since 1984, have you?
No.
What, since he read the book? Or since he went to see the film?
My back.
What? He must mean he's got a bad back or something.
Yeah, that's right. That's more like it. James Rodriguez blow-up doll could see some action this season, eh, Billy?
Yeah, maybe that's why his back's sore.
All right, should we get on with it?
Yeah.
Can do, yeah.
All right, so just to remind everyone listening, and I mean the word everyone, ironically, obviously. Do, as Berg, we do a See You Next Tuesday podcast, which is Liverpool-centric, and we do a See You Next Thursday podcast where we discuss the rest of the teams in the Premiership. So, without further ado, let's get on with Liverpool and versus Leeds. Let's dissect.
Oh, I'm sure Billy's got something to say here.
I have, yeah. I thought Liverpool done very well, actually. They played some good stuff, but defensively they were awful, which gives help to everyone.
Yeah, but wasn't that all Gomez's fault, though, Billy?
What?
Wasn't that all Gomez's fault, Billy?
A lot of it's Gomez's fault.
I knew you'd say that, even though it was Van Dijk that was constantly out of position. But
Van Dijk was out of position. Oh, Gomez just isn't a good player, I'm afraid.
Would you call him Billy or Wolverine?
Oh, God.
Wolverine, yeah. He's not a good player.
Oh, God. Come
on, Billy. You're talking nonsense, mate. How's he? Right, we're going to get to the players' ratings later on, and we'll just, as I say, we'll discuss that later. But because it's going to cause real consternation if we do it now.
Because this is the this is the latest Fabinho, Firmino, Henderson argument for Billy, where he tells us all their crap and they turn out to win. You know, and they win everything in sight, and then he has to change his mind and find someone else to pick on.
I've only had to do it twice. Twice I've had to do it, that's all.
Thrice. You called Henderson.
Henderson, yeah.
Firmino, yeah. And Fabinho.
I'm still right about him, by the way.
You even admitted yourself not so long ago you were wrong about him. Now you're going back on... Oh, I give up.
He had a good move. Yeah. So, I was a bit dubious, but he's gone back to his usual self.
Who? Bobby.
Yeah, Bobby.
All right, let's talk about
I mean, obviously he's crap. He'd get in the team otherwise, wouldn't he, every week?
No, he does a job, but he doesn't do.
That's a very good job, Billy.
Obviously. That's obviously
Right,
why we struggle, because we've only got people like him up front.
Listen,
Yeah.
let's rewind a bit because I knew this would happen if we started talking about players now. Let's talk about the game.
Sorry, I couldn't resist starting him off.
Billy's about to combust.
I couldn't resist triggering him. I'm sorry. I know we were supposed to wait until later, but
No, we've got to. Let's talk. We've got to, because otherwise it's just going to blow up and we're never going to get anywhere. All right, we need some structure, lads. All right, I was fuming after that game. I've got to be honest. I know, Billy, you thought we played well, Tristan.
I just enjoyed the game, considering it's the first game of the season. We've only had 2 friendlies, and then everyone's buggered off to the internationals. I don't see what the problem was.
It was enjoyable to watch. I must admit, it
just
was.
enjoyed it. We got 3 points, and that's the only important thing. And they've had a kick up the backside and a wake-up call for the rest of the season. I'm happy with that.
Guys,
You must have been happy with Mo Salah. He played fantastic, didn't he?
He was awesome. But
He was amazing,
it's telling
amazing.
that the player who's
Hello.
most fit, fitness obsessed, was the one that looked the best on the pitch,
Yeah.
because he was, he's at peak fitness anyway.
I must agree with that. Yeah, he looked superb.
Whereas the others, you could see they were miles off fitness, most of them. Especially Trent, he was so far off his, off fit levels. You could see he was struggling. He was running like he was in treacle at times.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
Robertson done well, though. I thought he played well, Robertson.
Yeah, but again, another one that's like naturally fit. So
let's. For me, I think that was a lackluster performance. I think a part of that is I think we're a team that is buoyed by a home crowd and so I truly believe no crowds is affecting us adversely.
Certainly help Everton. Maybe that's why they could win. They could win the league because they won't have the fans booing every time a pass goes the wrong way.
I think every team can say that about the ground, can't they? Everyone's going to say, "Oh, we had the crowd there. It mean a difference." And
yeah,
it's just the way
I've
it
heard it with the Forest fans this weekend as well, saying that they were even worse because there's no fans there to tell them to pass the ball forward.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I thought that was a iffy performance, even though we scored 4 times. I think the only thing that switched on in that game was Mo Salah on my TV. I just don't know. I agree with you. Listen, as you look at it philosophically, and I agree with that. It was first game after 2 bad preseason results, and then they went off to the national game. So we've got 3 points. We need to be better though, because listen, we're not going to coast the league like we did last season. So we got to be switched on from game 1.
I think Leeds were part of the problem for Liverpool there. They were so open, weren't they? And the game started off as it finished, just all attacking, everyone throwing everything in. And I think that was Leeds' biggest downfall. They just attacked. It was great to watch. But as a game of football where you're looking for good defence as well as good attack, there was no good defending on either
I know
side.
you were saying about Leeds and it's going to be their downfall, but if you actually watch them defend, they need to attack, not being funny. They're going to get destroyed if they try and defend. They don't have a good defence. They can't defend set pieces. They've got too many players with no pace, so they could get cut apart by pace. They have to get on the ball and attack, take it 2 teams and try and outscore them. Otherwise, they're just going to go down straight without a bit like Norwich City last season with a whimper.
Yeah, and Blackpool done it when they come up.
If you don't
try to do exactly the same thing, attack, and you can't do that.
Sometimes it's the only way you've got a chance. And so, it might not work, and they might well end up going down because of it. But if they don't do it, they will definitely 100% go down because they're not good enough to defend.
Possibly, yeah.
They are. I mean, you look at their defence, it's shaky as hell. Their keeper, he was behind his line on every shot. Look at him, he kept backing away on the corners, and he stood behind the line. He's not going to save anything there, because even if he does catch it, he's already behind the line with it. And their set piece defence is just hopeless. They've got
Absolutely
players like that. Calvin
set
Phillips is fine when he gets on the ball. He's brilliant, but off the ball he's a bit slow. He's not 100%. He's not the best positionally to make. So we can't make up for it. Make up for the lack of pace. He's not good in the tackle. He's a bit rash. They're going to struggle to defend. They've got to take the game to people to stand any chance.
But the thing is, the caveat is they've got 3 weeks to recruit players. They've got till October the 5th. This isn't even their regular first 11, and they took the game to us, and they really should have had a point.
It was pretty much their regular first 11. Their new signings. Only
Cooper
one
was out. Their captain was out.
Who?
Cooper.
Yeah, so what I was about to say, they were missing one player from their regular first 11.
They'll buy 2 or 3. They'll buy 2 or 3 first
They've already
teamers.
bought 2. One was playing, one was on the bench and came on. That Rodrigo.
Yeah, but they've still got that. They're going to buy that Argentinian.
I don't think they'll buy much else, to be honest.
Sorry, mate.
I don't think they'll buy much.
No, they're not going to buy much else.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
The way Bielsa operates, he likes to coach a team and work with it and keep it cohesive. I don't think they'll buy too many. Plus, Radrizzani's tight as a duck class, so he said he'd be buying the ground back for the club, but he never did. He bought it for himself, and he hasn't given it back to the club. And things like that. So.
Well, he's a businessman. Why would he give it to the club if he can have it?
Because he promised to when he bought the club. That was one of the things in the deal when he bought it.
Shock horror! Businessman goes back on his promise.
Yeah, I know, but my point is, you don't expect him to go and spend if he doesn't have to. And Bielsa doesn't ask for huge amounts of money. He doesn't ask for huge amounts of players. That's not the way he works. He's a coach. He wants to improve the players he's got. That's the way he works. So I don't see them buying 7 or 8 players.
I didn't say 7 or 8. I think they'll buy 2 at least.
Yeah, but they've already bought. That's what I'm saying. They've already bought 3 or so. So they're not going to buy another 2 or 3. Is what I'm saying. Maybe one.
Isn't he targeting Rodrigo de Paul? He's some playmaker from Udinese.
That's it. That's the other. That's what I was thinking of. They'll probably buy one for that position, and that's about. I think that'll probably be it. To be honest.
Okay. Well,
but to defend them from set pieces was absolutely atrocious.
Yeah, they are.
So
that's a weak
one free kick coming there, and 3 defenders and the keeper went up for it with no Liverpool player, and it come right out to Salah on his own in the box, and he ended up putting it in the top corner. But you can't defend like that in the Premier League if you're hoping to win anything or survive.
They were forever. They weren't tracking the runners. They were leaving Van Dijk on his own. Even the goalie, the disallowed goal.
Yeah, it's been a problem they've had all along for years.
I wish them well as well because they're a good side to watch, aren't they? They're very entertaining.
Yeah, they play good football. Bielsa plays attacking football. He's very good. You're never going to complain about his football. Don't you remember his Chile team was a 3-3-1 something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, they were hot.
They were incredible. They were crap players, most of them. They only had Alexis Sanchez and a couple of others that were worthwhile, Arturo Vidal and that. And most of that was because of him, Bielsa.
Didn't they win that competition twice in a row? The
Copa America, yeah, that was after Bielsa left.
Oh, was it after? Yeah, but he set the start.
He set the team. He created the team platform, and then what's-his-face took it on. The bald guy who flopped miserably when he left there. Because he wasn't actually that good. He just had a good foundation to work with.
You can see why they put in an offer for Ben White, sure.
Yeah, well, you can see why Brighton didn't sell him, though, if you watched yesterday.
Yeah, he went off injured as well, didn't he? He was really good in that game. He's a unit as well, that guy. He's probably a 30, 40 million pound player, I suppose.
Will be. Well, isn't at the moment, because he's got to prove himself.
Yeah.
Watching him yesterday, I think that's the first time I watched him. He's got something about him for sure.
Oh yeah, very much so.
Oh, he's a good player, yeah, very good player.
He times his tackles impeccably, and he's fantastic.
The only problem he has, in my opinion, his big problem is overplays. He tends to get carried away and think he's Beckenbauer or something, and he'll try and do stupid things that he can't, that he's just not good enough to do.
He should just stick to the basics, which he does really well.
Yeah, I mean, he's very good on the ball, but he's not great on the ball, and sometimes he thinks he is great on the ball.
Compare him to because all right, say compare it to somebody like Matip, who likes to be on the ball. Is there a similarity?
He's a bit quicker than Matip, though. He's got a bit more pace about him. So, but yeah, he's similar. You know, that laid back kind of ball playing centre back. Yeah, he's, in the respect, yeah, there's definitely a similarity.
I for sure liked what I saw yesterday when he was playing against Chelsea. Unfortunately, he went off injured. Should we talk a bit about Bielsa here? Because he does deserve all the plaudits he's getting. I know that Tristan, you've been eulogised about him for a number of seasons now, but people are just recognising who he is and what he's achieved.
Yeah, I love him. I think he's just a great character. I'm waiting for his bucket to come out back at Ellen Road now.
You what?
The bucket. You must have seen the blue bucket. They even sell them online in the club shop.
He's advertising on them now as well, hasn't he? He's got sponsorship.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what's shocking for me, guys? Is the guy sits on his haunches for most of the game.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
How difficult that is.
He's too tense to do any, to actually just go and sit in the bench, though, isn't he? It's too wild.
But the guy is the most mercurial character, I think, in football because there's so many crazy stories about him.
Was it in France where the players came into training and there was no sign of him and they were doing training sessions? They could hear his voice shouting out and they're all looking around thinking, where the freaking hell was he like? We can hear him, we can't see him. Then they noticed he was up a tree so we could get a better view.
Yeah, I read that.
But having said that, that's what Nagelsmann's had built at, where was he at before? The club he was at before, and I think they're doing it at RB Leipzig as well. He had Hoffenheim, that's it. He had a tower built so he could look down on training sessions, on the above the training pitch, above the centre line of the training pitch. Like he had a tower built so he could stand up on there and watch it from there.
My favourite Bielsa story, right? As a kid, when Mauricio Pochettino was a kid, Bielsa, when he went to scout him, he went to his house. His parents, where Pochettino lived, at about 2:00 in the morning. Knocked on the door, and his mum answered, and she goes, "Yeah," and he goes, "Oh, I'm just come to see Pochettino, Maurizio," and she goes, "Oh, I'll wake him up." She goes, Don't worry. He went up to his bedroom and he goes, "I just want to see his legs." And that's it. That was
and then he signed him after seeing his legs.
I mean, that is just bonkers, isn't it?
So, I don't know what he was looking for. That's I'd love to know what he saw.
How can you not like the guy after crazy stories like that? And he backs it up with. He backs it. He's legit tactical as well. He
is, yeah, very much so.
Genius.
And he walks to work every morning. He hasn't got a car or nothing. He walks to work to the ground. I know he doesn't live far, but he walks every morning to work.
The commentator that were in the Liverpool match, Leeds Liverpool match, they were just recoiling stories about him all throughout the match, and if you're lucky, you'll have one of in your life. You'd have one of the crazy stories about you, but he was just reeling them off. It was like it's a book. You know what I mean? It's definitely.
A lot of them aren't too, like the hand grenade story in that though.
That's not true. Oh no, yeah. Apparently it's not, because players have come out and said it's not.
No, yeah, he wouldn't still be there if he'd have never have made it this far if he'd have done that. Let's be honest. In case anyone's wondering, listening in, if there is anybody listening in, obviously, the hand grenade story is he threatened fans with a hand grenade because they were what was it when they supposedly shouting abuse or something, wasn't it? So he threatened them with a hand grenade, but it's not true.
and if it was, you could believe it. So
yeah, it should be. Yeah, it should be
that's
true.
the thing. That's what makes him great. Is that
Yeah,
the
he's a
stories
character.
are believable.
Yeah.
it's amazing as well. His Leeds contract, what he's done most of his life as a coach, is he gets paid his he gets the coaching staff. They don't get a he pays them. So the club pays Bielsa, and Bielsa filters it down to his coaching staff, and apparently he's super generous to them as well.
A
And that's
lot
what
of
was.
coaches do that these days, to be
Oh, do
honest.
they? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even
Yeah.
Fat Scam does that. That's what he do. That's why when he goes anywhere, he takes his whole crew with him because they're all paid for on his. So when they agree a deal, and you'll hear like when he was at Everton, he was paid X amount of millions. To be honest, it was a ridiculous amount of money, but it's unfair to say it's just him lining his pockets because a large percentage of that goes to the likes of Sammy Lee or whoever's who was on his staff
Gotcha.
because he
Gotcha.
pays them out of his pay, like.
What's the reason for that?
Because it means that you get your loyal, the ones that you like working with, you can keep them with you all the time. Because they're not contracted to the club, they're contracted to you.
Right, okay, fair enough.
So if
yeah.
you go, then they can't jump in and just take your job as well.
Yeah, it's jobs for the boys, that's what it is.
Yeah, but it's more about like they can't steal your job. They can't. The chairman can't come in and say to Sammy Lee, "Hey, we'll get rid of Sam and you take over." Sammy Lee will say, "Well, I can't do that because I'm contracted to him, not you. So I'd have to breach a contract with him, and he's gonna, you know what I mean? There's no chance of that happening." So.
Was you impressed, guys, with any of the Leeds players?
I was impressed with most of them, to be honest with you. I thought they'd done really well. Thought the new centre half was a bit green, but he'll come on. He's a decent player. But
I like the look
he
of
was
that
just a
Klitsch.
bit green.
Which
That
one?
Klitsch was decent. The goal.
Yeah, he's getting on a bit though.
Hernandez didn't do much for me, and I like him as well.
He was chasing back to the. He was chasing back to the. The fullback areas, Liverpool's fullback areas at times and stuff. You think him in Leeds fullback areas at times rather than staying up front. That's not his game.
No. It never suited him, the game.
I don't think it is a game for him. He probably should have been on the bench for the set, and come on late.
Yeah.
Isn't he about 35 now?
35, yeah. 35.
36.
Oh, is it? I thought you said 35.
Fabulous player in his day, though, weren't he?
Yeah.
How he ended up in I've never understood how he's ended up in the Championship. Far too good for that.
That's one of them anomalies of football, I suppose. I like Jack Harrison. I think he looked good, but was that because Trent was off? Or was that because Harrison...
it was, because Trent was really sluggish.
He's a good player.
He's not a bad player, but he's one of those young players that's like, if you shut him down early, he just dies out of the game, you know what I mean? But if you let him get at you, and Trent was struggling to even keep up with him, and yet he's quicker than him. He's much quicker than that.
Do you know, Trent looked like he was about 2 weeks off fitness, to be honest with you.
Not even.
I think a few of them did, didn't they? I think a few of them did.
I'm surprised.
Henderson was struggling as well. And
he struggled.
Yeah, that analogy, Tristan, what you just said earlier about Treacle, both of them, Henderson and Trent, was the case for them. I just don't understand why he'd risk them in such an important match.
Fit. You got to get them fit in the first place. If they don't play, they don't get fit. It's the problem. What we could have done with is Trent having having another game in the England internationals, full game rather than just coming on late in the first one.
Yeah.
To get him closer to fitness, you need to play to get fit. It's the problem. How else do you get them fit?
You think most of them will be naturally fit, but there is game fitness as well.
It's a totally different thing. It's like anything. It's like boxing. You can train to box, but like when you actually get in the ring, it's totally different. Adrenaline.
It didn't affect Mo, did it? Because he was sharp as attack from the first minute, wasn't he?
Oh, he was incredible.
Yeah, but psychologically, he's different. He's got an agenda. I feel Mo has, so he sets himself apart. He's just a machine, that guy.
He wants to be the best in the world. You know, he's like the Ronaldo kind of dedication, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he trains like that, and he's obsessive almost.
He's obsessive, and I think he's only probably got 2 or 3 years before his pace starts to curtail. So he wants to make the most of it. I mean, I'm hoping he stays with us for the next 2-3 years because he could be an absolute legend.
Well, this is his year to take the top spot if he's going to do it, because Messi's clearly a shadow of the player he once was. Ronaldo's a shadow of the player he once was.
I think he knows that as well. And I think he knows that this is his time to shine, because in a year or two, it's going to be Mbappe. So this is his time to actually.
I don't know. You know the way Mbappe's going, he might shaft his own future down the Swanee. He's not acting right, is he? Being a bit of a Billy Big Boots.
He just needs to get out of Paris Saint-Germain. He's surrounded by prima donnas. He just needs a manager. I mean, Tuchel can't manage personalities. He's too destructive. He's too destructive. Do you know what I mean? He's got too much of an ego, too much of a narcissist. Mbappe needs to get out there. He needs to get under a decent coach who's football centric. And you can see, obviously, he's got all the ability.
Are you trying to suggest he should go to Liverpool? Because you can't be saying Barcelona or Real Madrid. Neither of them have got a decent coach.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is he just needs to get, for me, he just needs to get out of PSG. He's just surrounded by idiots as well.
I agree.
Complete morons. And he's seemingly a really nice guy as well. He's very sensitive. He obviously loves his craft, but I just think he's surrounded by more.
It's not a place for a young player to improve, to go to the next level. It's no competition as well at league level. Though, having said that, they've been struggling so far, haven't they?
Yeah.
Oh, did you see that brawl the other day against Lille? Oh, not Lille, was it Marseille?
Yeah,
when they the brawl, I didn't see it. I've read all about it, but I've not seen it.
Yeah, 5 players got. I mean, Paredes went absolutely crazy. He went bazonkers on them.
Really, I mean, they're a mess. But this is what's going to happen with Tuchel in charge. If it doesn't go well, it'll just get worse. He's not going to fix a problem.
I think he's a nothing coach. I really do.
So.
I don't know why he's got all these top jobs. I just think he's
because he got very lucky. It's a bit like the guy Sampaoli. That was it. That followed Bielsa at Chile.
Oh yeah.
Because
didn't he go to the
followed a great
Argentinian
coach. Tuchel followed Klopp, so he had the foundations were all set in place. And obviously he followed after Klopp had a stinker of a season. Remember, everything went against him, where they hit the woodwork more often than any club in Europe. Then he comes in, and that stops happening. You know, they go back to normal. The luck turns. So suddenly he's a hero, because look how great he did after Klopp had a bit of a stinker. You know, it made him look great.
Yeah.
I just don't get. I mean, Villa-Boas is Marseille manager.
Yeah,
I was surprised. I didn't even know that. They're second in the league. Well, only after 2 or 3 games, but
obviously
still.
in between rally driving.
Oh, is that what he does? Is he?
No, he had a break to do that though, didn't he?
Oh, good for him, mate. I tell you what, he's been the most luckiest manager in football history. That guy.
He's one of those people as well. He's come from a mega wealthy family, a bit like Gianluca Vialli. So he doesn't actually need the football like.
The money he's made through football is insane. Like Chelsea got paid off at Spurs.
Tottenham will want him back.
It'd certainly be an improvement on Jose at the moment. Mind, having said that, I think you'd be an improvement on Jose at the moment, Bill.
I probably would.
Even though you wouldn't sign any good players, because you'd say they
wouldn't sign Gomez.
Your first signing would be Bobby Firmino and Joe Gomez. It'll be a triple signing one day. You'll all be doing the lean at White Hart Lane or wherever the new stadium is. What was I going to say to you? Where were we?
We're discussing the game, weren't we? And we were talking about Leeds, how good they were.
Oh, Trent. Trent was going. Oh, yeah.
Trent was below par, yeah.
All right. Should we dissect the Liverpool players then? Let's. Should we go for that?
Yeah, can do.
All right. So let's talk about Alisson. Listen, it seems silly to criticise the fella, but all right, he's not pulling out the superhuman displays of last season and season before, but he'll play himself.
I thought for the first goal he wasn't great, but a keeper can get beat as his near post. But I thought he done okay during the game, but I thought he could have done better for the first goal. But nothing else.
To me. Huh? You got to remember he didn't go away for the internationals either, so he didn't play. So he's just had 2 weeks off basically.
Yeah.
It's such a mess these games. Like Bobby Firmino, he's just had 2 weeks off in essence, and yet somehow Salah had 2 weeks off and plays like that. I mean, it's bizarre.
Yeah, but again, the psychological aspect kicks in
different
here.
Types of player. Bobby's always been a slow starter, so.
Yeah, and Bobby seems like he's very secure in that. He's got nothing to prove, but Salah's got on a mission. Like you said, Tristan, Salah, Ronaldo and Messi are on the wane. Mbappe's out of playing silly beggars. This is his moment to actually be that poster boy of world football, like Ed002 says. You know?
Yeah. I mean, taking the photographers on holiday with him and stuff. This is his moment now. This is where it could pay off, you know.
And good luck to him, man. I mean, the guy's just I we'll get to Mo in a minute because we're talking about Alisson. Because I'll be all day eulogising about Mo Salah, I tell you. But
yeah, you'll need to wipe your keyboard clean.
Yeah. So we've got no doubts about Alisson. He's got too much ability for this to be
top keeper. He is a top keeper.
Yeah. All right, Trent. As we said earlier, alluded to earlier, clearly wasn't fit. Wasn't his marauding usual self. Was at fault for Harrison's goal, and was lucky not to register an own goal when it would have been easier to miss that head.
That was just shocking. That was
shocking. Yeah.
I don't think anybody expected him to score.
It was one of those where it was easy to head clear. I don't understand how he managed to put it in the back of the net. Luckily, it didn't matter. Luckily, it didn't matter. But
I like his face though at the end when he scored. He knew it was like he was offside. He didn't have a clue it was offside.
Yeah. I think he just wanted to crawl into the ground, didn't he? Oh, please let it swallow me up. Oh, it's a flag. Oh, I knew that.
He's as I said, I think he's 2 weeks at least away. I think we need to drop him for the Chelsea game. I know that's a big statement, but
you can't drop him. Why would you drop him?
Yeah, why?
He's one of your best players.
He's not fit. He'll get destroyed.
He won't get fit if you don't play him.
A half-fit Trent is as good as any fullback in the league, really, isn't it?
Yeah, what are you going to do? Put Nico Williams in there who can't defend on a good day?
Huh?
Are you going to put Nico Williams in there who can't defend on a good day instead?
Like you said, we could put Fabinho in there.
I never said that. You said that. I said no.
He's a
bona
fide
play him at
right
right back. He hasn't been a good right back for years.
He played at Monaco right back.
He was
a regular right back.
He played in midfield in Monaco.
He was a right back for Monaco. Then he went to midfield
before he went to Monaco.
Don't believe that.
I disagree. Midfield. He played, I think, 3 games or something at right back at Monaco.
There you go. He was a right back at Monaco.
Enough at right back. That's why he got moved into midfield.
Listen, guys, you do not want Fabinho against Tino Werner to be honest with you.
You don't want an
The speed of him, you don't want Fabinho. I like him as a player, but speed-wise, you need Trent there.
He's not. He can't turn quickly. He can't do it. He's not a right back.
Well, why don't we put Billy's best mate at right back, Joe Gomez?
Well,
he can play right back.
But he can't get forward as well. Trent's the best right back. You need to get him fit.
You put a half-fit Trent in against a pacey player like Werner.
Yeah, he'll up his game. When he needs to, he'll up his game.
Yeah, and Werner doesn't play there, and he plays up top.
But what I'm saying is, we're gonna put somebody in with pace against him. So you'd have somebody with pace that are going to do him every single time.
Because he's injured again, isn't he?
Sorry?
Isn't Pulisic injured again?
Well, they've got Hudson-Odoi.
Hudson-Odoi, I'd have no worries about putting Trent up against him.
A half-fit Trent.
Yeah,
he's clearly.
I like Hudson-Odoi. He's got potential, but he's not there yet. I wouldn't be worried about that. They'll be just as worried about Trent going forward as attacking Trent.
But that's my point. He hasn't got the stimuli. He's not got the impetus to do that. He's not fit.
But he'll be fitter. He'll have had a week's more training. He's been injured, remember? This was, he'd just come back from injury and went away with England.
I'm not worried about Trent one little bit. If he needs to up his game, which he will do against Chelsea, because he can, he can go above what he played for Leeds, fit or not fit. He can play better than that.
I disagree. 7 days of training is not enough for him to be. He needs to be under 78, 90 to 100% to play against Chelsea. I just think they should. I wouldn't go with him. I just don't.
God, you're not the manager.
I may. Listen, I love
Trent.
Trent.
Just imagine us having Fabinho there. Oh my God.
All right. I'm just saying. I just don't. Well, listen. Proof will be in the pudding next week. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll find out.
All right. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, Joe Gomez.
I thought you meant Billy.
Huh?
I thought you meant Billy. I was going to say he's been on the diet. I think that's a bit unkind.
Right,
take it away, Joe Gomez, aka Wolverine.
Come on, Billy.
Well, I can't see what the fuss is about, in my honesty.
Let him talk, Tristan. Don't.
I'm not saying anything. I'm leaving him be.
Don't
he can dig his own grave. He doesn't need my help.
He's an all right player, right? He is an all right player, but he makes a lot of mistakes. I know you can't see it because you've got your glasses on, but
if I don't wear my glasses, I can't see, Bill. That's the whole point. You might want to try that, then you might be able to see things if you put your glasses on first.
I don't think he's the greatest reader of the game. I know you're going to disagree. I don't think he is. And I don't think he's as quick as what you were just saying. A couple of times there, he got skinned by Leeds. And I don't think he's that good a player. Obviously, you do. You see more. Well, you don't see more of him than me because I watch as many games as you of Liverpool. But he's not that good a player, you know. You mark my words, he will get found out.
Do you mean like when last season when he was better than Van Dijk for most of it?
Well, I don't think he was. I think Van Dijk...
the only person that didn't see that, Bill.
I think Van Dijk won you the league last year. Him.
He was excellent at the start of the season. Alisson was injured for most of it or suspended for large periods.
No, he made some...
You've got to give credit where it's due, is that Adrian helped out. Gomez was excellent when he came in.
You can't have Adrian in goal, can you?
Adrian played the first 7 games of the season after Norwich.
He played all right. He done all right. He done all right, but Becker's class, isn't he? You know,
yeah, we're not going to argue. Nobody's arguing that. What we're saying is that you're saying Van Dijk won us the league, yet he wasn't even good for most of the season. He had a shocking second half.
Well, I don't think he had a shocking second half.
He did by his standards. I'm talking about, when you're talking about a player that is clearly the best centre-back in the world right now. There's no dispute about that, is there? Nobody's going to argue that, I think.
But what I'm saying to you is that
his standards slipped badly in the second half, and Gomez at times was covering him like crazy, and then getting the blame for Van Dijk's mistakes. You're saying he was out of position and or bad reading the game, but he was the one that was covering all the runs while Van Dijk was caught ball watching constantly and against Leeds. So why is it that you think Gomez can't read the game when he was the only one reading the game in that match we just had?
Because I'm telling you, right, that if anything happens to Van Dijk, he gets an injury or whatever, and you put Gomez with Matip in the centre of that defence, you'll leak goals. You'll leak a lot of goals.
That's natural because but Van Dijk is that good. Anybody would leak goals when he's not in the team. That's exactly
what I'm saying. And I don't think who's going to take his place. Who's going to be your main centre half when Van Dijk's injured? Is it going to be Gomez?
He's 23 years old. Of course he's not going to be the main centre-half. You have an experienced head next to him.
But Billy, I think what's in question is you're saying there's a massive drop in the difference between Van Dijk and Gomez. And I think we're saying that's not the case because Gomez, it's evident in some games last season, he carried Virgil. And I know that you don't see that, but it's true. He carried him, and and in this game, Gomez started off awful. I remember texting Tristan. I said, "What is Gomez doing?" And Cater, I texted him. I don't know, 15, 20 minutes in. I can't remember.
Started on Cater yet?
Yeah, no, but I think it was 15, 20 minutes in. I texted Tristan. I said, they're diabolical, Cater and Gomez. But Gomez, to be fair, did up his game. He ups his game, and for some reason, Virgil just flatlined.
Yeah, Virgil flatlined. I'll give you that. Yeah,
I don't know that it was a lack of fitness in that respect. Not some of the things he was doing. That wasn't fitness. That was arrogance.
No, he flatlined.
I'll give you that. That was a bit of arrogance. It was just
that was the problem. That the reason why I was dubious about signing him. As I said before, we signed him physically and technically, by far and away, he is the best centre back in the world. Probably, possibly even the best ever in terms of physical the physicality of him and his technique. Fantastic. There's probably never been a player so perfectly designed for a centre back as him. It's the mental side that's always been his problem. He just used to go to sleep when he played for Southampton and Celtic for game after game. He'd wander about and get caught out constantly. And he's shown signs of that at the end of the season, and this season he started off even worse. And that's a worrying sign for me. You need to kick up the arse.
Last season, I mean, you can for him switching off is justifiable. We walked the league.
Yeah, exactly.
For him, it's justifiable. But as a consummate professional, the best in the world, starting off the way he has, it's not criminal, but you've got to give him the benefit of the doubt and give him the next 2-3 games. If he does it 5 games in, then there's a problem because we can't afford to have him, like Billy said, we can't afford to have him playing this way. Playing the way he did 2 years ago, like you said, sorry, Tristan, for Celtic and Willem Twale, whoever, I think it was he played for. No, it was, who did he play for in Holland?
I can't remember. I only remember him from Celtic and Southampton.
Yeah, from Celtic, sorry. We can't have him playing like that because he could play like this in Scotland and still be head and shoulders above everybody else.
Yeah.
That wasn't an issue, but he can't be playing like this in the Premiership for us. No.
I don't think he can up his game when he wants to. But that is a bit of arrogance. He can up his game when he wants to, and that is a bit of arrogance. I agree with Tristan.
Yeah, he needs to do it regularly, like he did like he did at the season before, and the beginning of the last season.
He won't do it against Chelsea on Saturday.
I hope not.
I can guarantee you that. He won't do it against Chelsea.
You're right, Billy. He seems to up his game when there's better players around him.
That's what he's always been one of those big game players. He turns up for the big games, the easy games. He can't be bothered. That's the problem, and that's something
but for the last 2 years,
if you want to win titles.
Yeah, and this is going to be the hardest title to defend, I think. So
it is. Yeah, that's going to be a hard title to defend.
But going back to Gomez, Billy, I don't think you see his virtues. He can be careless when he was playing right back. He let balls coast over him, and he was mistiming things, and he was misjudging things. He can be careless. I'm not denying that. But when Gomez is on his game, there's not hardly a better centre back in the Premiership, apart from say his partner. Yeah.
But so when he's bringing the ball out of defence, when he's got the ball at his feet, you watch him, you think the lad's a serious player. He knows, he's excellent at that.
He can play. I'm not saying that he can't play. He can play. He's a footballer, but he's just not a great defender. He's a good footballer, but I don't think he's a great defender. And I don't think he can lead the back line like Van Dijk. Obviously, he's only 22, so I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. But at the moment, he's not a very good player.
There's credence in what you say, Billy, because there's a reason why Klopp is looking for a starter, like, say, Carlos. So there is a bit of credence in what you say. So if Ed002 has alluded to the fact, well, he's mentioned it many times, that we're looking for a starter, i.e. Carlos. So I'm sure there's some truth to what you say, but he is not as bad as you make out. And his pace, I think that's one of his assets.
Yeah, his recovery pace is excellent. It was one of the things that saved us on a couple of occasions against Leeds.
When he puts the afterburners on, I think they said that he was the fastest player in the squad, even faster than Mo Salah and the rest of the speed merchants.
He is very quick.
He can be quick, but he gets in a position where he has to be quick. He loses the first ball, and the man can turn him. And I know he has got afterburn to come, and he does make some good challenges. But
you watch him in that game, his position was out because he was covering for Trent, or he was covering for Virgil, depending on where the ball was going.
Right.
You're looking at it and saying he's out of a position he should be in, but he was having to cover for players being out of position. So he had to be out of the position he'd want to be in to cover for where they're out of position already. And that's not a bad thing for a centre-back to do. He was working with his partner. I remember Daniel Agger used to do it all the time when he played alongside Skirtle. He used to carry that man for, I can't remember how many years they played together, but he carried him constantly. And he was always, everyone used to say he wasn't very good because he was constantly out of position. Yeah, he was out of position because he was covering for the useless get alongside him.
Because when you're having Trent and Virgil having nightmares, you got to do their work. So, you basically got three, you're doing, like you're saying, one man doing three persons' job. So they're going to have success, the attacking team.
Yeah, but I don't think Virgil was as bad as what you're making out. I think he had a few.
Watch on the third goal he'd scored. He just stood watching. Literally just stood around watching, and everyone's run past him. And he still stood there watching, and then he turns around and it's like, oh my God, everyone's gone past me. The only player who'd noticed was Gomez, who was coming across the cover. On the first goal, he never came across on the cover either.
The only positive thing he did in that game was score a goal and nearly score another one. It was. Come on, that was criminal. The goal he gave away. You just
absolute lack of concentration.
Absolutely, even if you wouldn't do that in I suppose in a Sunday League game you would. But what I'm saying is you wouldn't do. That's a competitive Premier League match. Why would you do that? That's just a total lack of arrogance. It's arrogance. Why would you do that?
I wouldn't even expect Harry Maguire to make a mistake like that.
Harry Maguire wouldn't even try that on the beach in Mykonos, let alone
well, maybe he would if he with the headbutt.
But it's not. It's. I just don't understand Virgil's psychology there. You're in the first game of the season. This is the Premier League. 3 points are at stake. We're defending the title. Why would you do such a? It's not even. You wouldn't do that 99 times out of 100. Do that.
The problem is too many people are telling him he's great again, and he is great. This is the thing. He is great, but he has to remember that each season is a fresh blank sheet, and he's got to prove it again.
What should make him great is doing the basics wonderfully well, and then the rest is gravy. That should have been that he should have done anything but that.
Hopefully, though, all this has done is made him
Sharpen
shake
him up,
him.
yeah.
Well, whoa, I can't keep doing. Whoa, can't believe I did
Yeah,
that.
yeah, probably
Like
will
what
be.
happened to Alisson last season or the season before when he made a couple of showboat
Yeah,
against Leicester.
didn't do it
And
again,
they
did he?
scored. Yeah, he didn't do it again. So let's hope, he's get a rocket up his arse.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was anybody else apart from Bamford, we'd have been punished a lot more. It was only because it was Bamford that it was. He scored, but Alisson nearly saved it.
Yeah, and he saved the previous one-on-one.
Yeah, he saved
The one he just. I mean, we're lucky Bamford isn't that good. Otherwise, that could have been a different result.
He's atrocious, fair play.
Yeah.
I
So-
never understood what Chelsea saw in him. I said that. It's like, why did they buy him from Forest? I couldn't understand it, and I'm still don't matter how many times when he was at Borough, he got Player of the Year in the Championship, and he was. I just don't understand it because he was awful then as well.
Yeah, but clubs make transfer mistakes. We've made thousands of them over the years.
Yeah, but what I mean is sometimes you can at least see what they're thinking when they buy someone, even if it turns out to be a mistake later and they don't reach their potential. You can usually see something in a player that makes them stand out as a possibility for the future. You know what I mean? He had
to be honest,
about him.
to be honest, I've watched him over the years, and this is probably one of the better games he's had. I'm not saying he was any good.
I've ever seen him play.
Yeah, and he was. I'm not saying he was any good.
Yeah.
He wasn't. He was distinctly average, but it's like you say, the best game I've seen him play.
He works hard now for Leeds, like he's been working hard under Bielsa, but he just can't finish.
No, they need an upgrade on him. I think all the supporters have said that they need an upgrade on him.
That'll be what'll cost them, not defending. If they don't get a better striker, they'll go down because of that, not because I don't know. Rodrigo's not an out-and-out goal scorer, so he's not the answer.
He's definitely not a defender, is he?
No, that's for certain.
Yeah, don't put your foot out.
Oh. Right. Let's move on to Robbo.
He was the other one that played well, weren't he?
Yeah, he played really well.
That was that. And that's that.
What can you say, really? He played well.
All right, let's go on. What's that, mate?
You can't really.
He always plays well. He gives everything every time he gets on the pitch. I've got a lot of admiration for him.
I love Robbo. He's
too professional.
He's one of those you can't help but love when he plays for your team.
Yeah.
His personality's brilliant.
Yeah, you can rely on him every game.
Funny guy, right?
I like him.
The banter they have with him, it's hilarious.
Oh, I love those videos they keep putting out on the site. He's brilliant.
The best, that corporate video they've done for the coconut water. Oh my God, that was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. Matip was excellent. Fun fact. Brilliant. Yeah, right. So should we move on to Genie? Clearly his mind was thinking about the lean at the Camp Nou.
I don't know what he was thinking about. It weren't the game.
I'm surprised he
played it. He was slack, Genie.
I honestly thought he'd be the first to get the hook.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
That bad, weren't he?
Oh. He was just, when he has anonymous games, that, quite regularly, he quite often has it. But that was just like he wasn't even... There was at one point that really annoyed me. In the first half, Trent's gone forward. He's the one in position at right back, in the right back area. This player, I think it must have been Harrison, got him behind him, and he's tracking back, sort of. I mean, he was jogging. The guy wasn't even, he wasn't even forcing the Leeds player to do anything. He was just cruising back, never broke a sweat. And you're thinking, chase him. I was screaming at the TV, chase him for God's sake. You've got the pace to close him down and put him under pressure, but he just refused to bother. I would have dragged him off at that point. I really would have. That was the point when I decided I wanted to throttle him.
Was that a case of he didn't want to get injured?
That's what it looked like. He just thought, I'll just jog alongside. I'll look like I'm doing something because I'll run alongside him, but I won't actually do anything because that'll take a bit of effort. He just I don't know what was. It did look like a player playing within himself, didn't he?
Why play for the next 3 weeks? Just get the contract situation or the transfer sorted, and then if you're here on October the 5th, then you're in the team. I just don't know why he would pick him. I think that's a bit of a... I mean, I don't know.
I think it was limited options, to be honest, because so many have been away with England.
Why didn't Fabinho play instead of him? Is he not fit?
Again, another one, he's not fully fit. There's so many players that aren't 100% fit, and Fabinho's more prone to injury, so which do you risk?
Yeah.
From the start, you know what I mean? If you're going to if somebody's going to finish slightly minutes and going to get injured, well, the player who's about to run out of contract at the end of the season is more disposable than the one you need for the full season.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's how I think it was. That's how I think it came down to. He just thought, well, it's Leeds, I can take a risk.
Yeah.
Hence why he went Keita and Henderson and Trent. You know what I mean? He thought, I can put all these players in, get them up to fitness. It's it's a risk, but I think we've got enough to beat them anyway.
Possibly.
All right, so let's move on to Hendo. Clearly not fit, shouldn't have played.
No.
Well, you say he shouldn't have played. You got to get him up to fitness somehow again. You know,
he wasn't very dynamic like he usually is.
But then he played the sitting role, so...
Yeah, he's...
Billy, did you just call Henderson dynamic?
I know.
He has been. Last season he was definitely dynamic.
You want a bit of ice cream with that humble pie, Billy?
No, I changed my mind about him. I told you that.
The choice was really whether to play Milner or Henderson, I think, for their leadership.
Yeah, I thought he might have played Milner, actually.
I actually did. But I think Henderson's so integral, even when he's not playing well. He G's the team up. He makes a difference, I think. Especially when things go wrong. You know what I mean? He keeps the team going.
But you're taking a chance if he's not fit. I know you've got to get him fit, but you are taking a chance.
But I think that's why he played him in the holding role. So he'd protect him a little, so he didn't have to do so much running forward and that. You know what I mean? He didn't have to charge forward like and up and down and that. I think it was like, play him in that one. We can get him we can start to get his fitness back. Play him in a role where he can protect himself. It also gives us the option to rest Fabinho, you know what I mean? So he doesn't pick up an injury, and they can bring him on later for Henderson, so Henderson can have a rest and he can come in and he's not going to pick up an injury as well. And you've got
and
that.
To be fair,
they couldn't trust Jones from the start, I suppose.
Klopp wouldn't have expected the other two to have gamed like they did, though.
No,
Henderson and Keita. He wouldn't expect him to have to do that much if you've got them two in your side. But it never worked out that way. Never panned out that way.
Yeah, because they overcompensated, didn't they? But I thought they would have thought, and Genie wouldn't have had the game he had as well. All three of them had a stinker.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have expected Van Dijk to make so many mistakes as well. I mean, no one expects that of Van Dijk, do they?
So really, we got out of a real tricky situation there, unscathed, really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's why got to be happy with it.
All right, let's move on to Naby Keita.
Yeah, can I take this one?
Take it, Kristen.
Because I want to talk about Naby Keita. There seems to be a bit of a debate about him growing on the sites. I mean, I'm going to say he's got plenty of talent. Not a problem with his talent at all. He's got the potential to be absolutely brilliant. Good enough to build a title-winning side around. But the question is, why is he so bad when he plays? He's terrible on the pitch. I mean, I've seen suggestions that he's feeling the pressure of the number 8 on his back, struggling to fill the boots of Stevie G. But I don't see how it can be attributed to the pressure. Because, I mean, players that are feeling the pressure, they don't move smoothly. They tend to be a bit tight, and you know what I mean? And they're not relaxed on the ball. They avoid the difficult passes and look for the simple ones. Whereas Keita, he glides around the pitch with ease. there's little sign of tension in him. When in possession, he gives it away because he's trying extravagant, difficult passes rather than the simple ones. Which, like, if he was feeling the pressure, he'd take the easy option, wouldn't he? So, yeah, I don't see that. What I see is different signs. Even during his final year at Leipzig, there were signs that, after the move to us was done, like signs such as bragging to his teammates about how much more than them he earns. He throwing the waitress's tip on the floor in an attempt to humiliate her. The fake driving license. That's one thing if you're 15 years old and want fake ID, but a grown man doing it just on its own, it's just a mistake. When you put it together, the other things and the constant flaunting of wealth on social media, it suggests a man who thinks he can just buy his way out of everything rather than bother to take the time and effort to actually earn what he's got. You know what I mean? He just throws money at it. Buy a fake ID. Why bother learning to drive? I can just buy a driving license. Why bother? And it's just not a good trait. Where sport, there's no substitute for hard work and effort in training to improve and make the most of your talent. You don't reach the level of Ronaldo and Messi by jogging around in training, messing about. That's not how you get there. And that to me,
the cardinal sin for me was in pulling out of challenges.
Yeah, well, I haven't even mentioned that yet. I haven't even got to that yet. I was just going to say about his injury problems, constant injury problems. That suggests to me he's not putting in the effort in training because he's not fully fit. So he's picking up little niggling muscle injuries. You don't get them unless you're not fully fit.
No.
So and then you watch him. You watch him against Leeds. And he ducks out of it. He ducks out of challenges. There was one header he could have gone in for. He must have been at least 70-30 in his favour. He pulls out and they get a chance. The pass for one of the goals, I can't remember which one it was, he ducks out of the way of it. It's a pass, for God's sake. It wasn't whacked, smashed upfield. It was floated. Why duck? He's just a coward. That's what it looked like to me. He pulls out of tackles all the time. He didn't make one challenge in that game. And he didn't do anything on the ball either. For me, it's time to just get rid of him. The experiment hasn't worked. He's a shithouse. I'm sorry, that's how I feel about it. A coward. He pulls out of challenges, that's it. You've got to go. You can't do that. Not in the centre of midfield.
Yeah.
And I've seen people say, I know your mate Tyrion Lannister thinks that they should just play him further forward and he shouldn't be tackling or getting involved in the rough stuff at all. But where are you going to put... So what, we should play with just two men in midfield and be overrun?
He hasn't said put Keita in the number 9?
He said he should put him further forward. That's the problem, is if people are playing him in central midfield. He's a central midfielder, for God's sake. That's why he plays in central midfield. He's just a crap one.
Harry said to play him as a number 10.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's been saying.
He won't be effective.
Exactly, because he's not good
enough. He's not effective now.
But he couldn't be any worse, let's be honest. But what are you going to do? Drop Firmino to play him there? If you're going to put somebody else there, you've got Minamino, who's twice the player as Keita already. He's shown more this season than Keita ever has.
I know you've been championing for him to go since last season, so this is nothing new for you because you thought it wasn't working last season and you just wanted to give him
I was saying I'd give him another chance if I was, if there's nobody coming in, but I just think I'd rather be without him at all. You know what I mean? I'd rather have a gap in the squad than have an empty jersey on the pitch pulling out of tackles.
For me, he's equal to in style to Jones. And I think at the moment, Jones probably deserves it a little bit more than him.
Jones is already twice the player, let's be honest, for Liverpool. The player at RB Leipzig, there's no comparison. He's a much better player, but he's not playing like he was at RB Leipzig.
When we signed him, I remember we were talking about it, and I just thought, you hadn't watched that much that Bundesliga at that time, and I was saying to you, this guy he's on the verge of world class. And he has regressed so much, and I don't know what it is. Maybe it's cold. Maybe it's he hasn't settled into the country and the environment.
But you've got to make an effort too, though, haven't you? To be fair, he didn't even bother learning the language.
Yeah, but it's not as if he's got Mane there. Mane's like a brother to him.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? There should be no problems.
And I'm sure. I mean, there's been one or two other issues as well that you didn't highlight.
Yeah,
but I'm sure.
I tried to keep it short.
Yeah, yeah, but I'm sure we've given him all the help. I just don't know what's happened. But it's this lack of desire or effort, or maybe he feels he's made it. I mean, who knows?
That's what I feel with him when I watch him. He just Billy Big Balls. He thinks he's already done everything he needs to. He's achieved everything he wants in life. He's made it big time. He's got all the money in the world. What's he care?
Because nothing's going to happen apart from regression now. You're not going to get a top team coming in for you the way you're playing. It's just not.
Isn't he, what, 26 now? So he should be at his peak.
Yeah, and I mean, you aren't going to get the top 2-3 teams in the other leagues, like the Spanish league, come in for him. No top 2-3 team in England are going to come in for him.
It'd be lucky to get a top 2 team in the Championship the way he's playing. In fact, if I was in League One, I'd give him a miss.
He's not justifying that £53 million price tag whatsoever.
And the rest.
And I'm hoping he does. I really do. I hope he comes on because every owner's got high hopes for him. I think every Liverpool fan has got a fondness for him, regardless of how he's playing now. We all want him to come through. I mean, but it's just not happening at the moment, and we can't pin why. I mean, he's getting the opportunities, he's getting the runner games, but I don't know. I mean, will it ever happen for him?
Do you think he's suited by the league? Do you think he could be? It's a lot easier in the Bundesliga than what it is.
No, it is a lot easier, mate. It's a similar kind of league, pal. I just don't think
that. It is easier in the Bundesliga, though. But but there's a lot of physicality in the Bundesliga, like the Premier League. So I don't think he's struggling with that. I just don't think he gives a shit. That's what you watch. Nobody pulls out of challenges like that if they care.
Really? Did you watch
Henderson pulling out of a header that he's favourite to win?
Yeah. Billy, did you watch him in the Bundesliga?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I watched him quite a few times.
He's on fire, right? I mean, it's just not me.
I was very jealous when you got him, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
He's an excellent player.
Well, he must be crap then. Billy said he's great.
It isn't the physicality, it isn't the style of the. I just think he's, like you said, Tristan. He has all the skill and all the talent. It's just that I think he's a weakling. I think that's what it is. I just think he's courageous. He's not courageous enough. If he had some fortitude and courage, he'd be a world superstar.
Yeah, he's got no balls.
No.
I just don't know what it is, and I'm sure that Klopp and the coaching team are drilling in, go in, and it's not happening. Is there a fear of getting injured? I don't know.
If you're fearing getting injured, I can understand why you wouldn't go flying into tackles. But heading, that's a totally different thing. You're not going to fear pulling a hamstring by going into a header, are you?
But he is such a unique player. We haven't got a player like him that breaks the lines, that dribbles, that goes, breaks those lines, and he creates space. I just don't.
Minamino does the same thing, though. I mean, why not play him there if need be? Or Curtis Jones can do it. I mean,
do you think that it could be that he was the big cheese at RBL, and he was revered by every other team in the league and in Europe, and then he's come to Liverpool, and there's a lot of good players around him who are just as good as him,
better than him
yet now, but and he might have an inferiority complex about not being the main man.
No, because he's definitely not got an inferiority complex. You only have to go and look at his Instagram feeds and you'll see this lad has no inferiority complex. Quite the opposite. He's definitely
I didn't know you had an IG.
I don't. You can look at it without needing. You don't have to have IG to look at things.
Okay.
I don't use social. I don't.
Do you perv him? Do you stalk him?
No, but I've had to look. People have said things like, "Have you seen what he's put on it?" I mean, it's like when they had a break. When they went on the break for a few days. I mean, you've got Ginny Wijnaldum's gone on a photo shoot, come out here to Dubai and doing a photo shoot out here for some magazine, I think it's Sports World or something. And that. He's there, he's taking his, him and his mates are on a private jet and he's putting up videos of him paying, having this private jet and all the flash clothes and all that. And you're thinking, I'm not being funny. You haven't earned the right to do that kind of thing. Not for you've been absolutely hopeless every time you pulled on a Liverpool shirt. You should be going in and doing extra training, if anything, lad. Not flaunting your money.
I mean, you
Especially
can't
right
begrudge
now
him.
when with the coronavirus, most people are out of work and that. It's a bit like, I find it really disgusting that Arsenal fans are celebrating Aubameyang signing a massive new contract when they've had to sack a load of people to give him the money.
They sacked 55 staff.
What's wrong with the lad? Why couldn't he say, look, I'll sign a new contract, but instead of giving me an extra 100,000 a week, can you use that money to pay those people that you've binned off? I mean,
that would be nice, wouldn't it?
When they asked him to take the pay cut during the coronavirus, he said that's fine, but first I want to know what you're going to use it for. Are you going to use it to make sure the low-paid workers get, the janitors and the cleaners and the tea ladies and that get paid their full wage? If not, if it's just going to go on, if it's just going to go so the directors can get their bonus at the end of the year, then, we're going to have a problem. But if it's going so that, if it's for the right reasons, I'm quite happy to take as much of a pay cut as you want. And this is a guy who pays over half his wages to charity anyway. So it's not even like, it's not even like he's on people think he's on a huge amount of money, but most of his money isn't even going to him in the first place.
Yeah.
So, But Aubameyang, the only thing he cares about is, he can go out and buy another gold Lamborghini now, can't he? And the Arsenal fans celebrate this. I just find that people like him and Keita are what's wrong with the game now.
Well, they won't be celebrating in 2 years when they've got him on another year or two left on his contract and he's not scoring goals, and they've got another one who's on 350 grand a week. Yeah. That is just ridiculous maths. I mean, who's doing the accounting down there? It is just absolutely ridiculous.
They'll just sack a few more tea ladies and stuff, won't they, so they can afford it?
It's disgusting, really, isn't it? It really is.
Yeah. I think we got a bit off track there, though, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Sorry, that's my fault. I took it off track there completely.
Right.
Sorry, I apologise. So where were we? Keita, weren't it?
Keita, yeah. Let's. So you think? I mean, there's no chance he's going this in this window. I think so. Let's see what.
We've not looked to sell. We're not going to get any money back for him. So what's the point?
Yeah, he's got to play his way back in form. Listen, there's always redemption. There's always a way back.
Exactly.
So
he could wake up and realise what he's got to lose here, and be brilliant.
Let's hope so.
But I can't see it.
All right, so let's talk about. We've talked about the chalk. Let's talk about the cheese. That's Mo Salah. I mean, what this guy's done for the last 3 years at Liverpool. You've got to be an idiot to complain about the guy. We're blessed to have him. I mean, look at case in point. What happened on Saturday? The guy is on from second one. He doesn't stop.
I think he gets a hard time as well when you consider how brilliant he's been. I mean, not one game you look at him and you think he's not putting an effort there, is there?
But people were questioning how many chances he needed to score last year. I know it sounds incredible, but Liverpool fans were actually saying, how many chances does he need to score?
But no striker scores every shot they have, and this is the thing that people forget that when they seem to remember only what. It's the same with Firmino. They only seem to remember what he misses. They never seem to remember what he does well. There's certain people, whereas Mane, they forget what he misses, and they rave about what he does well. And I love Mane, but he misses as many shots. He had some shocking shots in that game, and some moments where he was.
Mane never had a good game at all.
It disgusts me when people slag Mo down because he gives his all every single game. He's gone from a winger to a forward. He's got that psychology where he used to be a winger, but now he's got a forward psychology. So he's going for goal. I mean, sometimes yes, he goes for goal when he shouldn't do, but he's got a forwards mentality now.
Rush used to do that all the time, but nobody criticised Rush.
Thierry Henry went in from winger to a forward.
Harry Kane. Harry Kane is. I remember. I mean, the other day when they played, who did they lose to on the other day? Spurs. God, who did they lose to?
I know, I'm waiting for Billy to say it. I was like thinking, are you being serious here?
You didn't remember that bit, all right? Yeah, when they lost to you.
Oh my God!
I remember Son. He took a shot, he was in the middle of the goal, and he took a shot, and it was like 10, 12 yards out or something, and he missed.
Do you mean when it was Ali? When he passed
Ali,
to Ali
sorry,
rather than Kane?
Yeah. And Kane's like, why didn't you pass it to me? And so it's like they're all selfish. All these forwards are selfish, but the difference is Mo's been the top scorer for the last 2 years, and he was off the Golden Boot 4 goals last season. So you can't complain about his figures.
You can't complain about him.
He's got a fantastic record.
We are blessed to have Mo Salah. I mean, yes, he was a Chelsea reject, and then he resurrected his career. So he wasn't that big name signing that we all wanted. But look at what he's done for us. He's resurrected our football club and our team, and it's like...
I think Klopp did that personally. But yeah, I get what you mean. He's been brilliant.
He had a hand in it. Mo had a hand in it.
Oh yeah, he's been brilliant for us.
I mean, whoever... I mean, I just don't understand how the
thing
I don't
you've
want
got to say is, if we didn't have Mo Salah on the wing in that game and had somebody else, whoever else, it doesn't matter who else, Messi even, I don't think we'd have won that game without him.
I don't know, but the thing is that you cannot put Mo Salah down. You have no evidence you have no evidence to put Mo Salah down. No. You can't slag him off. I mean, what he's done for us, he deserves all the plaudits he gets. And yes, he might be
just certain players, though. They do always seem to be the ones that get the blame for everything. It doesn't matter what they do. Yeah. There's certain players that are just the scapegoats. If you watch the Arsenal game, Alexander Lacazette, every time anything happened, Arteta was screaming at him. At one point, he chases back, makes a tackle, and he's on the ground, and before he gets up, he screams back at Arteta, "What do you want me to do then?" or something along those sort of lines, because he'd actually, he'd been busting the gut, whereas Aubameyang strolls around doing nothing for most of the game, and he's the flavour of the month. It's
last minute.
I mean, okay, Aubameyang scored a goal, but so's Lacazette.
Exactly, but let me go back. Let's go back. I get your point, but let's just go back to what has he done for you for your vitriol? Nothing. He's acted with complete unadulterated class on and off the pitch. He's scored you tons of goals. And what's his aberration? That he's a little bit greedy. He's a forward, for fuck's sake. Sorry, he's a forward.
I just think people only it is certain people they decide they don't like, and that's it. It's the same across the league. Every team has them. The scapegoats. It used to be Henderson. Didn't matter what he did. Or when the year we lost the league, when under Rodgers, when he was out suspended, he lost us the league because we didn't have him. That was the difference he made. Yeah. But most people would still say, they didn't see what he did, so he was never going to get the credit. Now he's finally getting some credit. They've got to find somebody else to blame. Lucas has gone, obviously, so he can't be blamed.
Yeah.
In the past, it was Sammy Lee used to get it.
Ronnie Whelan.
Yeah, Ronnie Whelan was another one. People used to be on his back. Didn't matter. He scores the goals to win the League Cup final against Spurs. Next game, he's the target.
Yeah. Ronnie was always got.
Craig Johnson used to get it a lot as well, but he was amazing for us. When Mo goes, you watch the drop off. I don't care who replaces him in goals and performance. You watch the drop there will be until somebody really fills those boots properly.
We'd have to change the way we play. You can't really replace players like that. They're unique. Mane and Salah. Same with Messi, Ronaldo. They're a different class. You don't really replace Kenny Dalglish, another one. We never replaced him because you can't. They just don't make them like that again. You have to change the way you play and have somebody new and a different type of player.
Yeah, so Yeah, that gets me really heated and hot and bothered when people slag Mo off. I tell you. All right, let's talk about.
Incredible at the weekend, wasn't it? That's what, That's not.
Oh, did you see the goal he scored? Oh my! Not the penalties, obviously, but what I must say, his penalties are getting much better as well. He's striking them with confidence as well now. Before, I wasn't too confident about him taking penalties, but bloody hell, he's doing well now. That volley, oh my God, that was just so nonchalant.
Yeah, he never thrashed it, did he? He placed it right in the top corner.
Brilliant.
Yeah, he was. Right.
Talking about people getting reviled, let's talk about Bobby Firmino.
All right. Yeah. Another player. Didn't think he had a great game myself. Another player who I thought was strolling about a bit. But I know he's not that type of player who busts a gut. And he is a very talented player. I don't know whether he does enough for me, Bobby. I know you so say he does. But I don't think he does quite enough that he could do.
What? Sorry,
he doesn't do
you can't
quite
criticise him for not doing enough. That's one thing. I think that's the one thing you can't criticise him for. You know.
You misunderstand.
I know what you're trying to say. I know you don't mean he doesn't do enough going for creative enough or whatever. But you watch him, he does some fantastic things. They don't always come off, but he's always trying stuff. Beautiful touches. He's at the centre of every move. He's at the centre of every press. He starts the press.
This and I still don't believe it. I think he's a decent player.
He didn't have the best game, but he was still at the heart of every move.
He's
really. What do you not like about? I mean, not obviously not as a person, but as a footballer. What do you not like about him?
As a footballer, he never seems to bust a gut for me.
What?
Right? He never busts a gut for me. No, he doesn't.
Oh my God, no! Sorry, but like, are you talking about? Sorry, who are we talking about now? I thought we were talking about Bobby Firmino, possibly the hardest working forward in the world's game right now, and you're saying he doesn't work hard enough.
I don't think he does. No, I think he could do it.
Sorry, but that just says it all for me. Why you don't rate City? You know, I'm sorry.
No, he looks to be doing a lot. He's very busy. He's busy doing nothing a lot of the time.
What?
Well, that's just my opinion on him. What he does is he gets involved and he has these nice little flicks, but he's not creative enough to be a number 9. I know he couldn't play as a centre forward, but he's not creative enough.
What?
For me.
I tell you what, this is a belter of a podcast.
I just can't. There's nothing I can say to that. This is just.
Do you feel he doesn't score enough goals,
have you ever thought of putting your glasses on when you watch football? Because you've said to me I can't see because I'm wearing my glasses. I'm beginning to think the problem is that you don't wear your glasses and you're blind as a bat because you. Bobby Firmino doesn't do enough. I mean, of all the things you can criticise the lad for, that is the last thing he can be criticised for.
Okay. He runs around a lot, but he's not as effective as he could be. For me, he's not effective as he could be. I think Salah takes a lot off him. I think Mane does, except he never on Saturday. But I think them two work the socks off. And I think Bobby's all nice little flicks and little interchanging passes. But as an actual constructor, he doesn't do enough for me. That's
interesting because I feel... But out of the 3, Bobby is the hardest working, Salah is the second hardest working, Mane is the third hardest. We're just slightly behind.
Mane works like a demon, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, that says it all. If he's the least hardest working.
I mean, that's what I think anyway. But I think, honestly, the only negative I have about Bobby is he's too selfless. I think he can be a little bit more selfish at times. That's the only thing
I'd like to see that on. I'd like him to take control.
He did get in the box more on Saturday.
He never really affected the game too much for me. Well, that might just be me. I don't think he affected the game great.
But he's not a great finisher.
But I think he could take charge more. And when Mane goes out to the left and Salah goes out to the right, I'd like to see him take that middle ground and have a shot. I would, affect the game more than what he does. That's all I'm saying.
That's interesting because I feel, but out of the 3, Bobby is the hardest working, Salah's the second hardest working, Mane is the third hardest working. I think he's too selfless. I think he can be a little bit more selfish at times. That's the only thing I have about Bobby.
That's all I'm saying. I think he could do as well. I think he's got the ability. But I don't think he affects the game as much as he could do.
There's two things that I would change about Bobby to make him, and I know this is going to sound funny to you, Billy, but this would make him elite, world-class level. He could improve his finishing, and he could be a little bit more selfish and score goals. That's what I would change about him.
I'll have that all day long.
Other than that, I just think I would have him the first. Honestly, this is my opinion. I'd have him and Becker as the first players down on the team sheet. He's that beloved by me. I think he's an exceptional player. I really do. Because I think he's the glue that holds us together, Billy. He's the one that starts the press. He's the one that starts the hard work and effort, you know?
It's not just that. He's the one that moves the centre-backs around to create the space for Mane and Salah to run into. Without him, you don't have them running in.
But I'd like to see him take more control, take the ball by the arms and have the odd shot, have the play the 1-2 more.
He does do a bit more of that thing, I think you notice.
Well, he might do, but I always...
Those glasses, Billy, I'm telling you.
I see Salah and I see Mane, and they're always looking busy.
Mane and Salah are better finishers, so wouldn't you rather your player... Let's be honest, if Calvert-Lewin passed as much as he did to a Mane... If you had a Mane or Salah on the wing running in and Calvert-Lewin took the shots, you'd be moaning that he's taking the shots because he's crap finisher compared to those two.
No, I wouldn't actually.
You'd be saying to him, if they're in a good position to shoot, you'd want him to put them in rather than take the shot himself. Because let's face it, his finishing isn't that good.
No, it isn't. No, it's very poor.
Exactly. Really? So that's how I look at it. Firmino's looking at it. He's saying they're better finishers than me. So if it's possible, I'm going to play them in rather than take the shot. He does it a little bit too much. I agree with that. He does need to improve his finishing. And he does need to take more shots, but not to the extent I think you're suggesting. It's only fine margins for me.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm going to have a look at him in the next few games.
He's that vital
and
to
see what he does that gets you so excited about him because
Billy,
he sets the press. Honestly, he sets the press. It all comes from him.
Billy,
He's the one, I mean, even when he gave the ball away and then gave away a free kick on the edge of the box. He dropped off that deep to get on the ball because he was working back in the first place when somebody had got caught out of position. Because he's the one that does all the chasing back. He's the one that leads the
chasing. Yeah, I'll have the chasing all day because he does. He works hard, but he's not effective enough for me.
Billy,
he doesn't affect the game as much as he could do.
I just think you're looking at it as insane because you're not noticing that he's deliberately sacrificing what he can do because Mane and Salah are better at doing the actual final bits. So he sacrifices the chance to do that to allow them to do what they do better.
Take that on board and I'm going to look at him over the next few
have a watch, see what you think, because that's how I see it.
I'm going to just study him. And study his game for the next few games.
That's the way to do it. Watch him. Just watch him rather than the game.
Yeah, it's fair enough.
It's difficult. If you've got Weiss, I tell you what, I'll give you do you have... I'll speak to you afterwards, actually, about it, Bill. I'll set you something up.
Okay.
Billy, the reason why I think most Liverpool fans were overjoyed that we signed Minamino, not because of his skill set, it was because it was a Firmino-like player that we were getting. So if we ever got injured, we had somebody to replace him. He's that important of a cog in our team.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
As I say, I'll have a little look at him over the next few games and see if I'm being a bit harsh on him.
Well,
because maybe I am, but I'd just like to see him get more involved, score a few goals, have a few chances, hit a few balls. Because he doesn't seem to... He seems to... Out of the front three, he seems to be the one who's not as important as the other two for me.
I couldn't agree with that, mate.
It's a long-running argument with Liverpool fans, and nobody can... it is a constant argument because everybody has a different opinion on which one's the least important, and I think the fact that nobody can agree tells a story for me that they're all just equally important in their own way.
The day one of them leaves, it's going to be a sad day because it just takes away from the team to the partnership, the triumvirate.
Right.
They work well together. I think they just fit.
Yeah, it's a perfect storm. It's a perfect storm.
Right, we're going on to Mane now.
Mane?
Poor game, to be honest with you. Don't think he was his best.
I thought Eiling played him well. At times he made him look a fool, mind. You know, the nutmeg on him, for instance, when he drew him back into our half and then nutmegged him and went. There's things like that. There were moments like that in the game, but I think Eiling just didn't give him a moment's peace, and that was the problem.
Yeah, I thought he played him well, actually. Yeah.
I think rather than saying, I think for me, rather than saying Mane wasn't good, I think Eiling just put in an exceptional performance against him.
Yeah, I suppose that's a point.
A man marked him for starters. That's something Mane doesn't often get. He literally man-marked him. He was following him all over the pitch. At one point, he even ended up in the box taking a shot because he tracked Mane back into our half so far that he's ended up in a position to get, I think it was a header actually rather than a shot, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that should have opened up space for the others. So by him, that's going to shoot. They're shooting themselves in the foot by doing that because it just opens up more space somewhere else on the pitch.
Well, the thing is, they do pretty much man for man all over the pitch, which is why Pablo Hernandez ended up tracking back. And but obviously it's not always the same man picking him up. But when it's a left winger, Eiling could stick with him constantly as the right back, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
It just requires somebody else to move across if anybody runs in there. Whoever's marking the player that moves into the space has to chase the man who goes in there. That's all.
The best. Sorry, go on, Billy.
No, he was off his game a little bit. I expect so much of Sadio because I think he's a fantastic player. But I didn't think he had his best game for Liverpool. I know you're saying Adam done well, and he did.
But no, I agree with you. I'm just saying.
I don't think he was at his best.
Yeah, totally agree. Let's move on to the substitutes, lads. Fabinho came on and made a difference. He shored up that midfield,
didn't he?
Yeah. It was. I mean, he should have. Well, in hindsight,
it's amazing how much difference that man makes to the team as well. He's another one that you just. This is what makes the team so good. I think is that every single player makes a difference. Almost every single player. I think every player. I mean, if you drop Robertson, the team dropped off. If you drop Trent, the team drops off. It doesn't matter who's out of it. It doesn't look like the same team, does it?
But his evolution has been insane because, I mean, Billy, you criticising him when he came was justified. He wasn't good. He just wasn't that good. I mean, of course, it was a system. He was learning the position. He was learning the system, and he was learning the football team and everything. And he had a few issues setting into the city. But oh my God, his rise has been nothing short of miraculous. I mean,
there's another thing Bobby did. You got to give credit to that. He helped him. He helped Alisson. They wouldn't have settled in so well without Bobby there. See, so there's another thing he's done, Bill.
Yeah,
it's okay.
He shows them all the Brazilian, introduces them to the Brazilian community. Now Lucas is gone. He used to do all that.
Yeah. Going back to Fabinho, his rise it's just been amazing. I mean, he was poor. Let's face it, he was poor.
Do you know, I've got to say, when I first saw him at AS Monaco, first season, I know they won the league when he moved into midfield. They won the league there, but I watched him and everyone raved about him, but I thought he was not good. I wasn't impressed with him at all. I really thought he was a bit lazy, didn't track back, he got caught at field constantly, you know what I mean? He didn't look like... you could see the technique was there and the ability, but he just wasn't... his head wasn't right, you know what I mean? He couldn't quite understand where he should be. Second season, even though they didn't do as well, He was fantastic. He really was the key player, and I was over the moon when we bought him after that. And it's the same with us. The first few weeks, he struggled. He couldn't get his head into what he had to do, and it took him a while. Once he'd learned it, now he's been brilliant since.
Yeah, been good. Yeah.
The one that made Bakayoko look good at Monaco.
No, Bakayoko's a good player. He just never got a chance at Chelsea. I mean, he got used to out of position. He got played out of position. He's been brilliant since he's gone back there, Bakayoko. He was good in Italy. He just, when he could be, when he wasn't at loggerheads with the coach. The problem was Sarri's just didn't give him a proper chance. I think it was Sarri, wasn't it?
But Fabinho done a lot of hard work at Monaco. Was it Bakayoko? Who was it for? I can't remember who it was for. He was carrying. One of the Monaco players that got transferred anyway. I'll never get it. So
I don't know. Maybe you think he did it for Bakayoko, but I liked Bakayoko. I thought he was a good player. A bit like Decore that Everton have just bought. Very much like him. Excellent player.
Yeah. Excellent player, but cannot finish at all. Don't give him any.
Why did Watford play him in an attacking role? That's why they went down, because they put in a player who was getting all their shots at goal who couldn't score if his life depended on it. It's bizarre. Now he's playing back in a proper central midfield role. He'll be great again.
Yeah, he needed a move. That's a good move for you. Good player for you.
Him and Alan. I said when Jorginho went to Chelsea, I said they got the wrong player and they should have bought Alan. Chelsea should have brought him, and I still stand by that now, and I think he'll prove that this season. Why I rate him so highly. I really like him. Man of the match, wasn't he, at the weekend?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
I mean, he was the best player on the pitch from what I saw.
Players had it not been for Ancelotti. That is the Ancelotti effect.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah, they wouldn't come to Everton. Or Hannes wouldn't have come to Everton.
But he's only come for his 400 million trillion followers, hasn't he? They've only signed him for that. Does that not worry you that the one thing they were concentrating on really was how many followers he's got on social media? Do you think that's something the club should even mention? I found that a bit.
Yeah,
surely it should be. He's won all these trophies when he played for Real Madrid and that. Surely that's what you should be mentioning.
Just on the profile of the club, isn't it? Not well known in Colombia now. Sells shirts in Colombia. It's a bit of a PR stunt, but that's okay. That works for me.
As long as he plays for the money we got. Does it? If it doesn't matter whether he sells shirts or not. If he plays well, you'll be happy.
Absolutely, we will. Yeah. And I thought he got off to a good start. I didn't think he was a world beater, but I thought he played well.
Unfortunately, that's as high a level as you're likely to get off him. But on the other hand, that's an improvement on what you had. So
absolutely, it is, yeah.
So you can't really. He's taking it's a step forward. What's the option? Otherwise, you could be playing Iwobi or Walcott there. So let's be honest. That's a step forward for Everton, even if he isn't going to be a world beater. And you've got to take steps. You can't just leap forward unless you're going to spend 500 million on a player, because they're not going to join Everton the way you are at the moment, are they? So it's been a good summer for you.
That Decore is a fabulous buy.
I love Decore. I was one of those to sign him.
Good hard-working lad.
Yeah.
I would have had him all day long for the last few years. I've been saying that. So really impressed me at Watford. I think he was their key player until they moved him further forward, which I never understood.
He cannot finish.
Well, they had players like Will Hughes who played that role all their career. But they put Decore there and put Will Hughes in central midfield instead, and then they wonder why they go down. I mean,
he's a destroyer, isn't he? Decore. He's
so much energy,
and then he charges forwards and links up the play again, or gets on the end of headers, or creates havoc. And he's a proper player. He's an old school box to box midfielder.
That tackle he come back and done for against Lucas Moura, when Moura was well favoured to take the ball, and he just got back, and he was 3 years behind him and got the ball back to Pickford.
That wasn't a lazy press, was it?
And that's something you've missed out on for years as well, having bite in the central midfield.
Yeah, we've had no one since Peter Reid who's done that, to be honest with you.
Oh, I don't know. I think the Joe Raw Dogs of War had a few. Thomas Gravison and that.
Yeah, Tommy was a different type of player.
Wasn't he, Gravison?
He was just a shit. I mean, he was just a. What can I? He wasn't a bad player, to be fair, but he was a bit like. Yeah, it was just not all there, was he?
But it was all right. Done all right, Tommy.
Yeah.
I've heard some great stories about him.
Good pass as well, actually, to be fair to him. It wasn't like he was just in there to kick people, but he did a lot of that.
He was a bruiser, that fella.
Yeah.
Right, should we move on to the other sub, Curtis Jones?
Yeah, I thought he done all right when he come on.
I don't know. I think it was all right. I think people's raving shoot performance. I didn't think it was.
No, it wasn't a raving performance, but he done a job when he come on.
I think the problem is you're comparing him to Keita. That's why they were raving. Because in comparison, he was fantastic. He did more in the first 30 seconds after running on the pitch than Keita did in his entire time.
Now Jones is a very interesting one because I think people want some Brazilian in the midfield, to field, but we've got a Scouser he's one of our own, and he's come through the academy, and I'm just hoping he's got that. He can fulfill his promise. That would be amazing. That would be such a sweet story.
Well, one worry with him is in the modern era, he lacks the physicality of the pace and that power that's often required these days.
But can he make that up with his skill and his vision and his IQ, his football IQ?
Yeah, it depends on how where he's being played and how he's being used. But yeah, of course
What's
he can.
His best position? What's his position? Because that's a mystery to me.
This is the problem: is finding out what it is now. This is what we got to do now: is find out where he's best. Because I can't see him being a wide player. Like I said, he lacks the pace and physicality needed.
Not a number 10.
Maybe that could be the one. I don't know. He's creative, good vision, can finish. You know what I mean? He's always a danger around the edge of the box, so maybe a number 10's a possibility. I'm not sure he's going to do the Carolero role that he's like the central midfielders do for us. I don't think he's got that drive that's needed.
I would put him in central midfield. I don't know he's ready for he's not ready for a starting berth yet.
Maybe if we played double pivot.
Yes, maybe. But
then he can use his range of passing and vision to pick out, but then he's not getting around the edge of the box enough. And he's good around the edge of the box. He's deadly.
I was surprised he came on at
good finish already, Bill.
He's one good finish. That's it.
I was surprised he played so long against Leeds. Actually, I thought he'd have a cameo, but he played quite a lot, about 30-40 minutes.
I was glad to see that Klopp went to him rather than Milner, or the safe option would have been Milner. Much as I love Millie, don't get me wrong, love Millie, and he would have been a safe option and closed out the game. But I was glad to see he turned to the youngster. That's a good sign.
The Klopp has faith in him, obviously.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's great.
Well, let's watch this space. Let's hope he finds his place and he comes through and he sprinkles that stardust. All right. Transfers.
You're after the lad in midfield, aren't you, Thiago?
Is that the elephant in the room?
Oh God! I was hoping we wouldn't have to talk about this.
I think people are going to fast forward an hour and a half and just listen to this bit. So, Tristan, what's going on with Thiago and Genie going the other way?
Oh, no,
sorry, not the other way. What's going on with Thiago and Genie going to Barca? They're all hand in hand.
We need to sell to raise the funds, and we're looking to sell. I think we might. I think the problem would be it'll be players like Brewster that have to make way to enable us to buy him.
Do you think that's a good idea, though? The money that's been invested in him, he's a good player, isn't he? Good young player.
So
I just can't see him ever making it at Liverpool. I
Yeah,
like him a lot, but I just don't think he fits the way we play. And are we going to change the way we play to get in a youngster? He needs to go away and prove himself, and then maybe we could buy him back in the future and bring him in, and he's good enough and settled and ready to lead the line and change the team to suit him.
So they're saying Sheffield United are interested in him with a buyback clause.
Oh, that'd be a brilliant move for him because they desperately need a striker. Because that McBurney's he's dogmuck, isn't he? He couldn't score if he let in a brothel with a handful of fivers like that, lad.
Fivers. This ain't 1824, lad.
I was trying to keep him. Billy wouldn't understand if I said anything higher. We're Scousers, mate. We don't have big money. We're not rich like you Londoners, like.
What kind of? I want to be going to Liverpudlian houses.
Fiver, you get the lot, don't you? Oh, not that I know, obviously.
You
these kind of things. I don't know. I mean, how would I know these kind of things? I've never visited them like you, so I'll bow to your greater knowledge, mate.
Fiver.
I know you call it a mani pedi, but we all know what you really mean you're having.
I'm going for one now, actually, after the pod.
Yeah, anyway, I bet you are.
So what you're saying is that Brewster will be sold?
Looks well. He's certainly he's been offered around, whether it's loan or sale. He'll be going out, I think.
So the only way Thiago comes to Liverpool is if we raise funds to buy him.
Well, it's sell and make space. You've got to make space as well. You can't just buy 13 midfielders and hope to play them all. I know you want us to buy every single good player in the world, but where are they going to play? You've got to make space for them. You can't just have 45 players in your squad because your squad can only be so big, You've only got 25 spaces.
So, Genie has to be sold in order for him to go to Barcelona, and Barcelona have to sell to buy Genie because they've just agreed a £28 million deal for Depay, haven't they?
I forget. They've definitely wanted Depay. I don't know whether they've
agreed personal terms, and they've agreed a figure as well, but they have to a fee, but they have to sell to buy.
They're in a similar situation. Most clubs around the world are in trouble. Real Madrid need to sell to buy. Everyone does at the moment, apart from a few. But I mean, you say actually, I take that because even when you look at Chelsea, their spending is because they've sold a lot. You know what I mean? It's not like they've just miraculously discovered a wad of cash in Roman Abramovich's back pocket. It's because they've sold loads of players.
Okay, I want a yes or no answer from you, Tristan. Come October the 5th, 2020, end of the transfer window, will Thiago be a Liverpool player? Yes.
Talk about putting me on the spot because there's so many variables. I think he will, though, because Klopp wants him. So, and it's clearly he's the one he wants. So.
Come October the 5th, 2020, end of the transfer window, will Gini Wijnaldum be a Barcelona player? Yes or no?
Ooh, that's a difficult one. Because he's not even who Koeman wants, so he's not his first choice, is he? So, or Barcelona, so that's a difficult one. So I'm going to say no.
So will he go somewhere else? Because you've just said that you have to make space in the squad.
Yeah, we have to make space. But what I'm saying is, I don't know if we'll be able to get rid of him this summer.
So then we won't be making space in this unless he gets sold somewhere else.
Yeah, I think that's a problem because nobody's got any money to buy anyone. And I think that's where the problem lies, is that Barcelona are already having to cut their cloth accordingly. Otherwise, they'd be buying... they'd have bought, what's his face, Van der Beek, that Koeman asked for, but they couldn't afford him. Because they spent out on Pjanic, didn't they? How much did they spend on Pjanic? And giving him Arthur as well. I mean, what was that all about?
And Vidal, yeah. What is So what you're saying is that Genie and Thiago will be at the football club on October the 5th.
I'm saying that's a distinct possibility, yeah, because Klopp
If that's
desperately
the
wants
case,
Thiago, but I think we'd really like to get. I think from everything I've been told, Klopp looks like he wants to sell. Well, we know he wants to sell Ginny. That's been made clear, which is why there's no contract. Or the contract's, there's no offer on the table for him at the moment. He wants to go. He wants him to go. He's the one he sees as the not doing enough. Personally, I would say that he's the wrong one, but
He's
there's
got Billy
others that should
Darcy
go
on, hasn't
before
he?
him. But I can see his point. His contract's running down. He's at the age now. We've got a lot of players around a similar age. Mane, Salah, Firmino, Henderson are at a similar sort of age. So somebody, you have to start replacing them. But I'm not sure that Thiago's the right choice. Much as I love him as a player, he's another one a similar age. It seems a strange choice, but
If we have Genie and Wijnaldum at the football club come October the 5th,
Genie
I don't
and
care if we go.
Wijnaldum. Do you mean Thiago and
Thiago, Thiago and Genie. What did I say?
Genie and Wijnaldum. Well, yeah, they're the same bitch.
If we have Thiago and Wijnaldum at the football club on October the 5th, I don't care, we're going bankrupt, we're winning that title. That is going to be a dream midfield. Fab, Genie, and Thiago. And with Hendo in there somewhere as well.
I was going to say, would you put... I'm sorry, but if the choice is Thiago, Henderson, Fabinho, then Ginny's like, at best, fourth choice.
Oh, we can only dream.
At best, fourth choice. I'd pick Milner ahead of him.
In front of Thiago or Genie?
Genie, yeah.
Genie,
yeah, if you've got to alternate one of them. Unless it depends, obviously, on the opponent. Because obviously, if your Thiago needs a rest, Milner's not the best option to replace him. You're not creative enough, but then I wouldn't say Ginny was either. He's not that creative. He goes missing far too often. Unless he's got a rocket up his backside like he did against Barcelona, he just tends to vanish too often.
That's where the bad blood started, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's when things went a bit. But I mean, Klopp was not being funny, but Klopp dropped him because he wasn't doing enough. So, and he then showed that he can do a lot more, and he'd been playing within himself, so proved Klopp right as well.
Right, so it's all going to be over in 3 weeks. We'll watch this space, everyone.
I mean, I'm hopeful that we will sell Ginny, not because I want rid of Ginny. I actually like him as a player if he played to his best, but he doesn't play, like you said, he's shown that he can be so much more. So I can see why Klopp said, do you know what, I want to change him for someone who is that much more. Because Thiago's a special player, let's be honest.
Okay, let's move on to...
What do you think of him, Billy? Have you seen much of Thiago?
I've seen bits of him. I like him.
Just wondered if you had your glasses on when you were watching him, that's all.
No, I've seen him. He looks all right, actually.
Doesn't work hard enough.
Yeah, he's a bit lazy, isn't he, Bill?
He's all right, actually. I hope you don't get him.
Let's move on to Grujic, Shaqiri, Wilson and Origi.
We've applied for a work permit for Grujic, so obviously we're hoping to keep him. If we can't get one, then I think then obviously that'll change it.
Right. Okay. And Shaqiri, I mean, he's just been unlucky.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Shaqiri. I don't know what.
What can you do with someone who's always injured? Nobody wants to buy him.
Yeah. You're not getting money.
Go on a free.
What's that, Billy?
Just let him go on a free.
I agree, pal. I agree. Just get the wages off the books.
But he doesn't, he loves it at Liverpool and he's a big part of the squad and that it's difficult. It's like, it's much as he did help the title and all that, it's difficult.
As much as you want to say Shaqiri, get him out. He hasn't done anything. He's been injured all.
Yeah. But he's so likeable.
Something about him that I love.
Yeah, exactly. He's so and he's like that. The squad love him as well. He's a big part of the squad. So, yeah, he might be a bit of a what was his name? A buoy at Remember him at Arsenal that Wenger wouldn't sell because he was made the players laugh or something like that, because he was fun in the dressing room or something like that. It's like sometimes you do need to have characters like that in the dressing room.
But you can't be paying 120,000.
No, you can't, and that's the problem. Which is why you need. But you also, at the same rate, you're not going to get anyone to take him off your hands.
Yeah, and fair play to him, he's not going to take a lesser.
Well, he loves it at Liverpool, so why would he want to go? That's the thing as well. He just so this is what Wilson, it's.
How about Wilson Origi? Are they staying, going?
Wilson's got to go.
We're trying to sell Wilson, but it's trying to find someone. Leeds might well end up being the place where he ends up, but I think that'd be a loan if that happened, because they've still got the loan space.
Ed002 said that they offered 12 million and we wanted 20.
Yeah, which is why I think it might well be a loan, because I don't think they'll go high enough. Much as I'd take 12 million myself with a clause for any, a sell-on clause personally, but
perfect. Oh yeah.
But then they probably I can see why the club aren't doing that, because once he starts playing, once they see how bad he is, lazy he is, I don't think he'll impress them. I can't see Bielsa letting him be lazy, so maybe that'll be the making of the lad.
Yeah. How about Origi?
He'll stay.
I'm sure he's staying.
Yeah, he'll stay.
I've not heard anything to the contrary. He's one of those where he comes on in big games and scores goals. Well, I mean, it's one of those you really don't want to lose, isn't he?
And you don't get bigger than the Merseyside derby.
Well, I mean, he scores in the easy games as well, obviously, but in the big games, like in Europe, European Champions League final, things like that. He's a big game player.
That's his biggest attribute. He doesn't mind sitting on the bench every week.
Yeah, and when he comes on, it's not like he comes on with a chip on his shoulder and doesn't bother. He comes on and gives his all, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And he does add. I mean, how many players? Big game players are rare, because a lot of players that come off the bench or are backup players. When it comes to a big game and they come on, they tend to just look lost because they can't. They tend to add nothing because they've not played enough, and they go. They tend to retreat into their shell. Whereas he comes on it and it doesn't faze him. He's not bothered. He doesn't care. It may as well be Accrington Stanley he's facing as Everton. He's still going to score. You know what I mean? He just don't care.
The only thing I've got against Origi is his celebrations. They are crap. He's got the worst celebrations in the world. He just doesn't believe.
I love the one he did against Everton. When the ball dropped and Pickford missed it. You know that one?
Yeah.
That was a great celebration, that one.
All right, let's
Sorry,
not
Bill.
pain Billy too much. Yeah,
Sorry,
let's not rub it in too much. Will we be getting a centre back, Tristan?
No.
Or will Fab be the auxiliary centre back?
No, we've had. That's why he was looking at Billy Cometio in the pre-season.
So no centre back then.
We've got to be careful with money. You know what I mean? We've got to sell to buy. Cometio's done enough to be earning trust, similar to Nico Williams, and last season it was Larouci did enough to impress. Just got to hope that, unlike Larouci, he turns out to be worth it. See, there's another player that could possibly be sold as well, Larouci.
Yeah.
Does Hoover come into it?
Hoover, yeah, he's another one. He's impressing at right back.
Oh, wow.
So
that would make
it just
him and Williams.
Williams is got ahead of him, but Hoover's been impressing at right back. He'd be the one. Personally, I'd play him ahead of Williams, personally. But
Williams can't defend, and Hoover's not as good offensive.
Nor did Trent defend, though, when he first broke into the team. He learned. He's playing a different position, learning a different role. It takes time. So no, he can't defend, and I wouldn't want to use him as first choice every match. But but in time, he could learn to be it. That's what Trent did. And he delivers a good ball.
Then, in that situation, just say we had an emergency and Trent was, I don't know, injured, God forbid. and we had to play one or the other, who would you play? The offensive-minded right back, wing back, or the defensive one?
Depends who you're playing, surely. Hoover's not bad going forward, you know. So I'd probably, if it was on the balance of it, if it was just like, who do you think's the better player? I'd go with Hoover. But obviously, there's certain games where you think you'd want the attacking thrust, so you'd go with Nico.
Right. And you wouldn't play Gomez there, because I think he'd be the first call if Trent was injured.
Oh, well, the problem is you say that, but I mean, what's the chances that Matip's going to be fit so Gomez can be used on the right?
Fair play, yeah.
I mean, if Matip's fit, I'd have no worry seeing Matip in the centre. I mean, because with playing Gomez, what often happens when he played Gomez at right back is he actually played a back three when we had the ball, and then it gave more freedom to the midfield because they didn't have to cover like they do at the moment. You know, you're always having, when the fullbacks go forward, the midfield are having to fill in at the moment. Well, what we did then was Gomez just tended to sit. He'd play a back three, basically, when we got possession, and it allowed the midfield to attack.
Yeah.
So we can do that again. So I'd have no problem with that. I mean, Matip's proved himself to be good enough. You just can't trust him to stay fit.
Yeah. He was exceptional when he first came, and then he was poor.
He was exceptional when he never had to defend when he first came. It was only when he actually had to defend that we started to see there was issues with his game, and then he got pushed out of place, and he came back and showed he can rise to the occasion and be a better player.
For sure.
He was fantastic at times.
Absolutely. Okay. There's been reports that maybe this is just tenuous. Wilfried Zakaria, Borussia Mönchengladbach. Do you know anything about that?
Wilson Zakaria, isn't it Dennis Zakaria?
Wilfried Zakaria.
Wilfried Zakaria
of Mönchengladbach. I suppose he's a Spurious anyway.
Am I thinking of the wrong player then? I've seen reports. I've not heard anything about him other than he's been one that's been watched. But we've watched so many players. It's hard to know whether we're watching him for a move or just watching him to keep tabs on him. You know what I mean? Just in case.
And also that to me it's tenuous because of Fab in the team. But anyway, you never know.
I'm going to have to look up, see which one it is now, because I thought it was Dennis Zakaria. Who's Dennis Zakaria that I was thinking of?
Not sure, mate. What about?
You're still looking at Sarr.
We're going to get to that, buddy.
Are you sure it's not Dennis Zakaria? Because I just googled Wilfried Zakaria and I can't find anyone.
Well, maybe it is then. Yes, Dennis Zakaria. That's the one.
That explains it now. So that is the one I was thinking of. I was thinking, am I thinking of the right player? Yeah, we'd keep tabs on him. Whether I've not heard of any move in the offing, and I don't think they'd welcome one either, because they've had interest from Man United, Everton, and all that. I've all been watching him.
Fair enough.
And they've been pushing people away. So.
Okay then. Ox to Wolves, is that a thing, or is that just
don't know
transfer?
Anything about that.
Okay.
Not heard a thing. I mean, I've read about it on the site, but I've not, people posting asking about it, but I don't know anything about that. I've not heard of any interest from Wolves in him.
It'd be a good, it'd be out of the blue, that's for sure. Okay, what Billy?
It wouldn't be a Wolves sign. He's not Portuguese.
You never know. What Billy mentioned, Ismail Sarr, is it true we're trying to look to sell players to fund a purchase for
the Watford player?
Okay.
The rumours started because he's desperate for a move to Liverpool, keeps talking it up and saying about his big brother being Mane, and he's desperate to play with him. And since then, we've been linked to him constantly.
So it's just paper talk, basically.
Well, it's just because he said he wants to move. You know what I mean? It's like people assuming, oh, we must have been tapping him up then. No, he just wants to move. He's just desperate to join Liverpool. Some play, he wants to play alongside his best. He's really close with Mane, and he wants to play with alongside him. That's what it's about.
Do you rate him?
For Watford, yes. For Liverpool, no, he's not good enough for Liverpool.
All right, so
he's one of those where he's good for them, creates a lot of problems for them, but he's not got the polish, you know what I mean, the quality of final ball and that to be good enough for a team challenging for the title.
That can be taught, though, no?
Isn't he like 23 or so as well? So he's starting to get to the age where I don't know. You can teach him, but I think most of the time when you watch him, he's very raw. Not in like when Mane joined as raw, as in like a headless chicken running about raw.
Speed for miles, but no end product
no
really.
No thought, no. It's not like he's one of those that he'll just sprint down the line and you know what I mean. He'll try things, but it reminds me of that Alan Saint-Maximin. When it's brilliant. But 99 times out of 100, he's fucking awful.
Right. All right, let's preview the...
And that was a D. I'd just like to point out it was ducking awful, I said, before anybody complains. I did very much say a D.
All right, let's finish it off with the preview of the Chelsea game. Billy, did you watch the game, the Chelsea versus Brighton game yesterday?
Yeah, I did. And you know what? I was impressed by Brighton. I thought they played really well. I thought they were a bit disjointed, Chelsea. But, I think they've got some good players, but they're not playing as a team yet. You don't expect that because
you're right.
Got together. But, I'm looking forward to seeing Werner and Havertz.
What did you think of Havertz in that game?
Wasn't impressed.
He wasn't great. He was okay.
No, I didn't think he was impressive. But I mean, he's got quality. But he does tend to look like he's not trying. He can look like he's just not bothered at times. I noticed that at Leverkusen. But
he looks silky though. Every time he has the ball, silky.
Yeah, quality player.
He's clearly got it. It's just going to take him time to get used to his teammates, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even if he's world class, I'm going to do a Billy on him and say he's rubbish. He needs to work.
You're still sulking because we didn't buy him.
Yeah, of course I am.
You're still sulking about Rashika.
Oh, I love that guy. I really love that guy.
What's special about him?
He can be a brilliant understudy to Mane or Salah. He's fabulous.
So an understudy, and you're moaning because we're not. See, this is what I mean. You can't just buy 500 players. He's not going to.
Well, yes, of course. I'm not philosophical like you. Do you know what I mean? I want the best players for our team, obviously, but
we've got the best players. That's so why you're not happy with it
for the money. But I'm being realistic as well because he's not going to cost that much either. I mean, 18 million for Rashika was ridiculous. A player of his caliber. All right, he's not going to. He couldn't. He wouldn't oust Mane or Salah, but if they're not playing, he'd be a fantastic substitute. You watch if he signs for Villa. You watch.
Yeah, I don't know. All right.
All right, let's get on with Chelsea. Right. Well, we play them on Sunday. I'm glad we're playing them this early in the season because I'm not sure if they're going to gel or not, but I don't want to give. I don't want to leave it to chance. I don't want to leave them playing them 15 games into the season.
Yeah, I think it's a good time to play them.
Yeah, I think. Go on.
No, I was just going to say I agree with Billy for once. They're going to take a while to gel and get together. They bought a lot of players. And they've still got Kepa in goal and a back four that looks all over the shop.
Yeah, they're gonna. I mean, they're really good. I mean, that keeper that's coming in, the guy from France, he's clearly going to be number one. They don't spend 20 million on a number two. If your number one's that bad, so he's going to be the keeper. He's going to take a while to bed in. Obviously, the defenders that they're buying, they're going to take time to bed in. So that team it's not going to be ready overnight. It's going to take a month or two for that team to kick into gear.
Yeah, and that's going to be their problem with respect to challenging for the title. Is it might be too late for them to, they might be too far behind by the time they get it together. If they keep winning, though, while they're getting it together, they could be a threat later on.
I mean, I don't see them challenging this year. I just think there's too many variables, moving parts there. I mean, it's very highly unlikely that a team that gets changed so dramatically challenges straight away. They've got to get used to each other.
So you think a team that doesn't make many signings is better because it's more stable, yet you want Liverpool to make lots of signings?
I didn't say
Somebody's
I want them to make lots of
explain
signings.
the logic.
When did I say I want them to make lots of signings? What are we laughing at? When did I say that?
You're always every single player. You want them.
But I want to sleep with every Hollywood starlet, but I'm not going to do that. So
well, no, we know that.
But so what you want and what you get are two different things. But,
and even then, they probably wouldn't.
Yeah, I just want players that we can have that would fit into our system. And number two, we haven't got who have we got to when Mane and Salah get injured? Who have we got? No one.
Minamino.
No, he's not effective on the wings. No,
but they're not going to get it. They're not going to miss you if they miss huge chunks of the season. That's going to happen with any team. I mean, Man City lost Laporte. They didn't have anyone to bring in.
Well, listen, I'm not saying I want it to happen, but I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen.
Out, who have they got? They've only got that Jesus, and he's not half the player. Yeah, but he's not half the player Aguero is.
But look at all what they've got on the bench. They've got serious quality on the bench.
But if De Bruyne is out, who have they got that can replace him? No one, because those players are that good. You cannot bring in a player of that quality to sit on the bench. They're just not going to do it.
But I'm sorry, Mane and of course they will. There's players all over the world that sit on good players that sit on a bench for money.
Not that good. They're not. If they were that good, they'd be playing for a top team of their own. You know what I mean?
I get that, but what I'm saying is from Mane and Salah, our drop-off is too far behind City's. I mean, if De Bruyne goes and Silva comes in, it's a drop-off, yes, but it's not that much of a drop-off.
But De Bruyne plays alongside Silva usually, so that's not a good comparison at all.
But Bernardo Silva's on the bench a lot when David Silva was playing, not this season maybe.
Yeah, they've not got David Silva, and that's going to be a big loss for them. They've never recovered from losing Vincent Kompany. Losing Laporte, one player, nearly was like devastating to them last season.
I just don't see if we bought Rashika, I don't see that's too much of an issue to him being on the bench. That's all I'm saying. He would be
disagree. Considering he wants to play for the first team,
if we pay him enough. I just think Rashika coming on
so
for
you
Salah.
Want the club that's got that's struggling for finances because of the COVID thing and no fans in the ground. You want them to just go and pay whatever he asks as wages so he can sit on the bench just in case one of the two up front happens to get a long-term injury.
I just think that's prudent. Of course it is.
Is it prudent or is that stupidity? I mean, to just throw money away
what is it?
Someone gets
5 million.
injured.
What's he gonna earn a year? He's not. What's he gonna earn? 2 million a year.
But he won't sit on the bench to earn 2 million a year because he can go and play for the first team and improve his value.
No, we could. Were you telling me Klopp can't sell him that?
It's not just 2 million a year anyway, is it? Because you've got apart from the transfer fee, the taxes, you've got the agent fees, you've got all the other associated fees with the transfer.
Get rid of Wilson. Get rid of Wilson. Well, Shaqiri.
We need to do that anyway. We're not going to. Why would you want to get rid of Grujic? I don't understand that. Why would you want to get rid of Grujic? Grujic has proved himself to be. I think he needs the chance. I would have him. I'm hoping that, if he gets the work permit, that'll put a stop to any chance of Thiago coming. I like Thiago. Don't get me wrong, but Grujic is a player. And he can play both the holding role and the central midfield. Not ahead of him, but he's a better fit for what we need because age-wise, he's much younger. And if we're bringing in players to the squad now, we need to be bringing in players that are of a different age range than the ones that are being replaced. If you see what I mean. If you're bringing in, we've got the 29, 30-year-olds, Henderson.
Right.
We've got
we've got
Ginny.
6 of them at 29, 30.
Yeah, we've got the front three, and Ginny, Henderson, whoever, and I've forgotten who the other one is. Was it Van?
Milner.
No.
Milner.
No, Milner's 33, so he's different age. But I'm saying you've got them. You need to start bringing in players to take over from them long term, whereas Thiago's just another one to join them. Much as I think he's a fantastic sign. If he joined, I'll be over the moon. But I think we need a Grujic as well, or instead, it'd be more suited to what we need.
Because just for the 8 to bring down the average size of the squad,
or because you think he's a decent player. In this case, it'd be if we can't sell Gini Wijnaldum, Grujic should be in to learn and develop.
Is he a filler? Is Grujic a filler or is he a first team player?
He's quality, mate. He was excellent in Germany. He's really good. I really like him. I think he's got something.
I seriously haven't watched. I mean, I'm hand on heart. I have not watched much of him play. What type of player is? Because I just thought he was a labourer.
He's more than that. He's a player. He can pass. He can tackle. Great in the air. Good shot. And he's not world class yet, and he needs work on his positioning and his movement and all those kind of things. But he's been improving massively. His problem was when he was with us. First off, he wasn't working hard enough in training. He got sent out on loan to Cardiff City, and Neil Warnock came out publicly and criticised him for his training. He wasn't working hard enough and told him so. Told him in training it didn't happen. So he came out publicly and told the press that he's not working hard enough. Since then, he's been putting in the graft and he's become a real player. And he's looking like the player, you can see why we
Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed the show.
I like him.
Fair enough.
Bit of an Alan type of player.
Bit of a who?
Bit like Alan, where he can do it all, but you're not going to sit there and say, unless you sit and watch him, you're very, they're not going to rave about him in the press and that because he's not going to do the tricks or, you know what I mean? He's not going to do something like Salah does, score a hat trick. He's not going to do those kind of things, but he does a good job. You know what I mean? He's
a grafter.
Yeah, but he's more than a grafter. Like Alan, he's more than a grafter. He's a grafter, but he's a good passer. He reads the game well. He plays, he plays the right pass rather than just playing a pass, if you see what I mean. And Grujic is very similar often. Not always. He's still a kid learning, but he's getting there.
So you'd have no problem with him being in the first team as opposed to the squad? So you don't have a problem with him?
I don't have a problem with that at all. I mean, especially at over the team we had at the weekend. I mean, you could replace any of the midfield, couldn't you, on their performance, except Henderson, obviously, because he's the captain. But, I mean, you'd get rid of Cater or Ginny on that performance, out for him any day. Wouldn't you?
I think on that note, I think we should call it the end.
Fingers crossed we get his work permit.
There you go. Billy, you got anything to add?
No. I hope he comes back. I didn't think much of him when I seen him, but I hope you get him.
Bill, by the way, I don't know. How's your health, by the way? I just thought we should mention it.
I'm struggling a bit at the moment. Just a couple of days, struggling a little bit. But I will get there. Just a bit.
Is it okay to mention it, by the way? Why I'm asking?
Yeah.
For those who don't know,
You've not given him a
tested.
choice, have you, now?
Well, I could, you know, he didn't have to say why. Billy's tested positive for coronavirus and that, like, so I was just checking he's okay, and we didn't need to replace him on this podcast. I mean, because I'd miss him, obviously.
No, not quite yet. I'm not that bad, but yeah, I'm getting there. It's don't think it's going to be a quick fix, but I'm going to get there.
Well, not at your age. Nothing's quick, is it?
No.
So you're quarantining for how long is it? 14 days, Billy?
14 days, yeah. I've got another 8 to go.
Fair enough.
And,
how's your miss? The important thing is, how's your missus coping with you at home constantly for 14 days?
Well, she hasn't got it, so she's okay at the moment, but...
Yeah, but has she been in corners crying to herself a lot?
No. No.
Not that you've noticed, anyway.
Has she been taking out? Has she been taking out the insurance papers? The shoebox, that life insurance policy.
I could probably do with doing that. I've been trying to learn how to cook recently. So I could probably do with taking out a life insurance policy. It was going all right. I tried to make omelette the other day. Everything says it's dead easy. It was going great up until the moment I broke the eggs.
Yeah, you got to
downhill from there.
Why are you making omelettes, Tristan, for yourself?
To eat. What else do I want to do with an omelette? Is this some kind of weird...
Somebody normally makes them for you, don't they?
No.
Oh, fair enough.
Nobody makes anything for me. I have to do it myself. That's what I mean. I've been learning to cook rather than ordering in all the time, because it's cheap to order in, as you know here, but I thought I'd make the effort.
Good on you, mate. Good on you.
It's not really good. You haven't seen what it ended up with.
Next step, you might leave the house. I can't even make
scrambled eggs look like scrambled eggs. It's more like smashed eggs.
Right, boys, I'm going to head off. I'm going to get in my bed now. So I'll see you.
Good luck, Billy.
Yeah,
feel better, mate.
Better soon, mate.
Yeah, thanks very much, boys. I'll see you.
Yeah,
see you next Thursday.
And so any of the listeners, so we know if he's not on next time. What's happened?
See you, mate.
Take care, mate.
R.I.P. in him already.
Yeah, well, you know, we can but hope. I mean, we miss you, Bill, honest.
Thanks. Ta-ra, boys.
Take care, man.
Right, I'm going to call it then.
Thanks, bye.